Hello and welcome back to 4,000 and Counting. A couple of guests with me this evening. Podcast producer Graham's popped in to sit in on this one. Obviously, Mark here. But our next guest is joining us. North American, played 4 years in NAHL before earning himself a 4-year NCAA contract with Lake Superior State University. He made his pro debut in the East Coast Hockey League way back in 2007 with the Reading Royals. He then went on to have his first full pro season in the CHL with the New Mexico Scorpions. What a name for an ice hockey team. He spent the following 5 seasons splitting time between the IHL and the East Coast Hockey League before heading over to the Elite League, where he spent 2 seasons with Hull Stingrays before nipping back for a hot take in the SPHL, back to Hull again. And then he took on the player coach role, the dreaded player coach role. He done it 2 years with the Pirates in a brand new league and did a good job there. He then went on to have 5 years off. He is back in the game with the Blackburn Hawks. It is our pleasure to welcome to 4,000 and Counting, Mr. Dominic Osmond. Ozzy, thanks for joining the podcast, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Right, first of all, just let's get in off the bat. You had 5 years off, so you're now a family man. Congratulations on that. Was that being a family man, was that a big part of the reason you just decided like now was the time to focus on work? We talked off air, you said you focused on getting like a master's degree and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was obviously we had a kid on the way and everything, and that was at the point where the league wasn't real stable either, and that kind of, we didn't know if we were going to have a league. And Sarah, my wife, we had just bought a house, new kid on the way and everything like that, and it was kind of like, well, I think I need to find a job here. I think I need to start getting into the world of things. And with everything being so unsure, especially in English ice hockey, it's not always straightforward. It's not always going to be there. You just don't know what's going to happen.
It's never straight. It's never straightforward ever.
So, oh no. And even, coming back into it, I was prepared for that, and I think that's what the 5 years off, Sarah and I, we talked about it. And I think for just after COVID and everything, it opens your eyes to a lot of things. And when hockey's a part of your life since you were 3 years old, it was, I found things to kind of, to almost replace it. But then you realize, it's never going to do it.
Okay, this will be interesting.
Golf.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, what did you try? Golf. It's not going to be interesting. That's what we all do. No, it's not interesting at all. We all do it. That's exactly what I did. I was kind of hoping you were going to go like you're all of a sudden like a black belt in jiu-jitsu you've been training for. You've been training. But what other kind of things? Obviously, I'm a PT, so I'm in the gym. I've got my gym. I've got my golf. So you got your golf. Is there anything else that you maybe have a go at?
It was more focused on family and everything. And
my wife's not listening to this. I'm more focused on golf.
Out of fire. No, it was more or less to focus on family, which is obviously something that you do when you're getting out of hockey and stuff. And we started late. I didn't meet Sarah till I was, I think, 30. 28 and then married at 30, and then you got a kid on the way all of a sudden, and you're like, oh shit, like this is life. And that was kind of where we decided to all right, I'm just going to step away for a bit. And then, like you say, you just try and replace it with everything you possibly can, and then realize nothing's ever going to replace that feeling, that game and stuff like that. And I did miss it. And
how nice is a Saturday and Sunday off on like a fucking September weekend?
I never did.
Do you know when someone goes, do you want to go and watch a football? You go, yeah. I don't have to be at an ice rink at 2 p.m. Let's go. Well, this is what you normal people do on a weekend. This is what normal life's like. Oh, you go down to the pub for breakfast. Yeah, that sounds great. Let's go. You've just had like 17 years of being told, right, the bus leaves at this time, let's go. And now all of a sudden, like, your missus is like, we're going shopping at Primark. It's like, no, we're fucking not. No, we are not.
That was the biggest adjustment, not having a routine, not having an itinerary is basically what it was. And that was, I struggled with it, being in the room with the guys, being on the bus with the guys, dude. And I think I struggled with it, with being away from it, but I just put it in the background, and that was something that just builds and builds and builds to the point where you're like, damn, I got to find a way to get back into this. I talked to my best buddy, Jay Holiday. He played quite a bit too as well.
No, not Jay Holiday from, what was it?
It
was on Channel. Was he a tough guy?
No, Jay. Oh God, he's gonna kill me. He wasn't tough, but we stood our grounds. But no, he's just.
Oh no, sorry, I've got it. I'm going to interrupt you there. You
Yeah.
come back to that.
Yeah.
Anyone that remembers it as a documentary on Channel 5 when we were kids growing up. You got to remember, in the UK, we didn't get no hockey really. You got the Channel 5 game every now. They did a tough guys documentary, and they followed Kevin Holiday around the CHL, I believe. And this guy was just a maniac. And they've I think Brandon Sugden. There was a few guys like that in this documentary.
Yeah,
and you played in that league, so I can't wait to talk about that. But sorry, let's go back to throwing your holiday under the bus. My bad.
No, and he's a smart kid. I mean, he's a doctor now. He's a resident doctor, and
amazing.
And, he was doing all that kind of stuff through while we were playing. I'm sitting there playing Xbox while we're playing. So, and he's sitting there on the computer. He's on the couch on the computer. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just studying. So. No, I still talk to him quite a bit, and we are pretty much he's one of my best friends, and the last couple of years we were just like, man, we need to get back into it. How are we going to get back into it? He's stuck because he's a doctor, so he's got no life. That's what he does. So, and he's talking about getting into it, and then I fell back into a guy who called me and said, look, you're going to get a text message from Blackburn, and I was like, who's Blackburn? Like, I had no idea.
Alan Shearer. That's the last time I heard of Blackburn.
And it was a way back in, but it wasn't just like, oh, there's the chance I'm going to take it. It had to be right. It had to fit. It had to, it had to be for the right reasons. And when I sat down with Graham and Carl and Ollie in the room, I explained they explained what they wanted to do, their vision, and it kind of lined up with mine, like how I wanted to get back in the game, because I did a lot of hockey schools and teaching kids and stuff. That's how I got through my pro career, because you don't get paid all year round.
That's exactly what I did, Ozzy.
Yeah,
exactly, mate.
Yeah, and I loved it. I enjoyed it. I did my hockey schools. I did private.
Would you
lessons.
say? People never have asked me on like a podcast, but my mates have asked me, coaching or playing, like when it's like, and I'm not talking i.e. pro.
Yeah.
I'm not talking coaching the Pirates, coaching a hockey school. Mm-hmm. Like, when you've got these kids for like a week or 2 weeks and they can't fucking stand up. And then on Friday, they're, backwards like figure of eights around corners, and now they can get the puck off the ice. I think that's probably the best thing for me that I did in my career, is been involved with the kids.
It was awesome. I was lucky enough though to train down in Virginia Beach, so it was a good place to be too as well. It was with who's now the owner of Norfolk Admirals, with the Hamptons Road Whalers, in that junior league there. And I was lucky enough to be able to move down there to train and skate between seasons, because that's what you need to do. But the owner was so good at working with someone like myself, because he saw how hard I worked, and he was like, well, I'm not gonna make this guy. There was a bit of a trade-off there. His kids were, young. Reagan Kavanaugh, he's now 26, and he saw that, well, with what I was doing, I think he kind of felt, well, I can get them on the ice with him. Let's give him a little bit, some, free ice time here and there to be able to do that kind of stuff. And that's where it just kind of took off. And I ended up, when I first moved there, it was literally just to train and skate. It was with an old junior coach of mine. And it was literally just to train, skate with the juniors.
Shape.
That's it. That's all it was. And I went down and I started painting houses and working for a buddy of his. And then I did a private lesson, and then it turned into.
He was like, I don't want to be painting fucking houses.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want any part of me being up a fucking ladder, cutting in. I could be shooting pucks in some kid's garage getting $100 an hour. So
well,
this.
at the rink, and I was like, well, I'd rather spend all my time at the rink. So I started out taking a little less money to do it, and I was like, well, the hell with it, I'm at the rink, and then it just kind of exploded from there. And then he got me involved with the program. I didn't work like for them, but I worked with them, like alongside them, and it was kind of a support, like a support system. And it got me into the coaching. That's when I started really coaching, because I worked at hockey schools, Skating Dynamics, started by Ken Field. It was a great hockey school. It was really, really good. It was, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon.
Oh, amazing.
We were able to go to a gym. They always had a gym for us, ice time at night, beer leagues and stuff like that. So, and that's when I really realized, actually, this is cool. I like this. I like this a lot. And that's when I thought, well, I think I could do this after I'm done playing. But then obviously you go through it, and then you start as a player coach, and it's completely fucking different. It is different. So it's nice to be able to coach now, not have to worry about anything but coaching, and just focus on the guys, completely focus on the guys, completely focus on the organization, where we're going, what we're doing. And it kind of brings out like the best in you, I guess you'd say, because I've had the opportunity to play for such good coaches. Some coaches I'd never really, at the time, I'm sitting there thinking, wow, man, I was a little bit nervous playing for them, or I didn't really agree with their coaching styles. But then you look back and you're like, damn, I was lucky to have him.
You learned from
yeah.
that.
Yeah, like, that helped mold you.
Yeah, exactly. And you take the best parts of each coach, no matter what they are. And you start
also, though, Ozzy, don't you think you take the worst as well? You're like, I don't want to be like this guy coming in, chewing the fourth line out for conceding a goal against the fucking first line of the other team. Like, you got to know the room, right?
In the bag skating things, like
what is that? It's the most pointless thing ever. Like, we suck at hockey, we keep losing, so let's spend one of our 2 practices a week fucking skating up and down the fucking rink instead of actually learning how to play hockey and maybe making a breakout pass or scoring a PP goal. Instead of being 14% on the power play. Like,
I like the undercover bag skates, but my practices, I'm sure if you talk to the guys and stuff like that, they're hard as it is. There's a lot of skating. And really, it's not skating lines up and down. I don't think once this year I've told the guys, all right, let's line up on the line. We're going to do some conditioning. Never happened. We do conditioning with shooting, passing, skating. Everybody's involved.
You have a young team as well, though, right?
Sorry?
You have quite a young team.
Yeah. And that
helps.
Yeah.
Well, in this day and age, it helps. In my day and age, in your day and age, might not help so much.
No. And that's kind of like the way I look at it. And today kids are different, and I will say that, and I hope they don't take offense to that. But I think, in a way, God, I hope they don't take this to offense, but I think players are a bit softer than they used to be.
Ozzy, I think they know that. I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think you have to worry about taking offense.
But our guys, I wouldn't say our guys are technically like soft. It's just a different generation. Everything.
Well, they don't have to go in a corner with me, so that's a positive. They'd be fucking soft if they had to go in a corner with me nowadays. I'm 102 kilos right now. Fucking murdering these kids. Boom!
Yeah, exactly. But that's
get Mark in there with a goalie gear on. Mark's playing goal in charity game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Mark to play in goal in a charity game. Mark, what do you reckon? Got some Dominic Hasek moves in you.
Oh, we'll see.
No mask.
But yeah, so it's going really well, and I think the guys have really taken to it and things like that. But I think there's a lot of different ways you can get your points across, and I think it's really starting to work with these guys, and it's showing. I mean, we're playing well. We've been playing well for quite some time now. But it's easy when the organization creates an atmosphere where they want to be there. I mean, we had 3 weeks ago was that major snowstorm, and obviously with all the IHA rules and everything, they put you through, and player safety, and everybody's got to be careful because we're all driving. I canceled practice that Thursday. Pretty much every guy showed up, and guys got stuck. They didn't get home till
I love that.
Morning, and it was like, and I was kind of shocked. And it was mentioned to me by Carl. He's like, yeah, because they want to be here. They don't want to miss that Thursday night driving.
He
2
promised.
hours.
He promised the missus like an Indian and that. He's like, look, I've cancelled practice, babe.
Yeah,
It's fucking done. We're gonna get an Indian. We're gonna get a movie on the go, and then you're getting texts. 2 guys are here. 4 guys are here. 9 guys. Boys, what the fuck is this? Like,
Put it in the group. I said, practice is canceled. Player safety's first. This and that, and all of a sudden, hey, I hear I'm there. I'm like, well, I gotta fucking go now.
yeah, I better go then. Damn it.
But I was 15 minutes ahead of the guys leaving because they had to shower and stuff. I got in the car and went, and 2 of them got caught back. They didn't get in until 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. So it just goes
at that
to show.
level. It's brutal, Dom, because it's not pro. It's not pro. You're not going back to fucking bed until midday. You're getting up in 2 hours to go dig a hole or paint someone's house or
Shit.
Yeah.
you're gonna go and do a grind, man, for 9-10 hours. It's tough.
Yeah, but the guys they're great with it, and like I said, I'm still learning too. I'm not going to make all the right decisions. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh well, yeah, coaching this and that. Like I'm fucking awesome. I'm not. It's just we're trying to create an atmosphere where the guys enjoy being there. I enjoy being there, and sometimes you get to an end of the season, you're like, oh, I can't wait for a break.
Yeah,
it hasn't gotten there. I get to Thursday and I'm like, I can't wait to get to the rink. I drive 2 hours from Hull because I'm still working out of Hull on a Thursday. So it takes me about 2 hours and 10 minutes, 2 hours and 20 minutes sometimes to get to the rink. But I've never once this year said I could really do with the night off. Not once. So that's
a question.
Yeah, go for it.
You've got a very young roster. You live
Yes.
far away. You're building something quite clearly for the future. English hockey is notoriously fucking dog shit at offering nothing in the summer other than summer skate. When the boys turn up on a Wednesday, they chuck £10 a pot. We all go out, we have a bit of shinny, we have a pint in the bar after we go home. How do you develop these young kids between now and September to continue their growth so that maybe we start picking some of these nippers off and taking them to national? I mean, sorry, try to kill your fucking players and take them off you here, but realistically, we don't want them playing for you. We want them going to the National League, and then we want them to go on again.
Use the connections. We've managed to make connections with quite a few, and obviously it's a little bit easier for me because I know a lot of the guys that are in those positions now. Ryan Aldridge, I'm sure I played against him in Swindon and Leeds. You got Matt Davis, my line mate for 2 years. He's in Hull. Sheffield, I played against Woody. Well, short time played. Trained and stuff with him. And it's just
3 of the best, by the way, right there.
Right,
3 of the best beauties right there. Great guys.
Yeah, you use the connection. So even if we're not going to have ice in Blackburn in the summer, you use those connections. We've made a really good relationship with the Aces in the NHL too. So
Manchester,
they're going to have some ice. And I talk to Elliot nearly 3 times a week. We have a few players up and down. You've got Bradford that we've made the connection with. So there's going to be ice time everywhere. And that's what I'm explaining to the guys. I'm like, look, you get 1 night a week playing in the NHL one night. That's it. That's all you get. We've got to find a way to get these guys on the ice 3-4 times a week. And that's what's going to improve those players. That's the only way you're going to get the players better. No matter what you do, you could be the best. You could be Scotty Bowman. It doesn't matter. You can tell them how to play. Unless you get them on the ice and unless they're skating and training and taking it a little bit more serious, you're not going to get to the next level.
Doesn't even have to be hockey, mate. Like, so I'm a PT, yeah? Mm-hmm. If you think you're going to fucking come rock in with me, don't get me wrong, you can come and see me for 1 hour a week and we will improve shit that you do with me. But if you think that's the only thing that you're going to do for your entire week, out of all the hours of the fucking entire week, you're going to come and do 1 hour, and you think that you're all of a sudden going to be good to go, nothing on this planet are you going to be good at doing 1 hour a week. You're supposed to be good at doing something 52 hours a fucking year. Are you mad? Like, that's madness. We need development, and the development comes in the way of repetition.
Yeah.
So, like you say, if you're a kid from Bradford, come and skate in Blackburn in the summer. If you're a kid from Blackburn, go skate in Sheffield and go skate in Hull. Go take a Jason Hewitt snapshot off the ankle on a Thursday night at Ice Sheffield, like fucking 11 p.m. See how that feels.
He won't care either.
He won't give a shit, and he'll actually probably smile. The miserable bastard. He might even smile, like Mr. Dowerface. He scores his like 120th point this season. He's like,
yeah, well, God, yeah, it's normal. But that's it. You got to get them on the ice, and you've got to create that extra ice time for them, and that's what the goal was. And it happened a bit later than we wanted it to. It took us a little longer because you got to focus on the team and getting everything going. But that's the beauty about being able to not worry about anything but coaching, right? So that's literally my role. I don't have to do anything else.
You're not trying to bring in a sponsor, because notoriously in English ice hockey, if your fans are new to this, I know we've got, like, just for example, we've got Leeds United fans who are very new, but they're very vocal. They're actually probably are some of our biggest supporters on this podcast at the moment, especially on YouTube and on the forums and stuff, and commenting and getting involved. But they're also new. They're like, oh, we're so new. We love your podcast because we can learn.
Absolutely jammed every night, isn't it?
And we can learn and we can do this. What do you think, like, the thing with, like, the community in Blackburn's like? Because obviously it's a different hockey community. It's never really had a taste of, it's never had an Elite League taste. It's never had an EPL taste, never had a BNL taste. It's always kind of been what it is. It's the National One North. And it is that level. But they've had guys like Bobby Haig in the past, going back to a friend of mine. Graham will remember that. Fucking lunatic. What absolute legend. By the way, if you ever want to just laugh for 4 hours, go out for a night with John and Bobby Haig. Your sides will be split, and if you can chuck in Davey Smith, and all these old school fans all know who I'm talking about, chuck those three guys in a mix together. Amazing. But other than that, like, I'm going to sound like a prick here, but we never played against you at national. Like, if I made nationals when I was a junior, it was Nottingham, Sheffield, Billingham. Right. And then when we got into the BNL, it was, who was in the BNL then? Fife, Dundee, Humberside.
Yeah.
There was never, like, Blackburn were never in it. And then it went to EPL. And then it was like Hull, Sheffield, a couple of other teams. Blackburn were never in it. So for me, it was never like a club that I really crossed paths with. I never came across them as a junior, never went to a tournament there. I never really knew much about them. And then when I saw your name pop up there, I was like, why is he gone there? Especially, why is he gone there after time off? There must be, when you went there, I basically thought there must be something in the club. So what's it within the community and the club that actually brought you back?
It's the vision. It's what they're looking at doing. And I think they have it right. There's always the teams that just kind of, they come in, they've got new ownership, then they fizzle out. Then they come in, they've got new ownership, and then they fizzle out. I was in Hull with two sets of different owners, right? And then
in two seasons, or while you were playing?
Well, no. Well,
as a coach,
year to year. No, in with the Stingrays. So we were owned by Coventry the first year, weren't we?
Oh, so yeah.
And then the second year, well, no, actually, the year before that, that's how I ended up there. Jeremy Tendler, he'll come up, I'm sure.
Oh, you will, yeah, you will. Oh, yeah, you will.
That's he's how I ended up in England. And he was like, oh, and I can't remember the names of the owners the first year or that year that he had him. He's like, they're great owners. It's a great place to play. The guys are awesome, this and that. And that's when I kind of signed. But then we ended up being owned by Coventry, which was a bit different because Coventry was the main team. We got through, and I won't put anything down. We had a good time. It was, it was ran all right, but it wasn't ran the way that I was used to pro hockey being run. And then the following year, it was Bobby McEwen took over, right? Yeah. So I had two different owners there. Then I came back after my stint in the SPHL to Bobby McEwen, and bless him, he did the best he could. You know what I mean? But that's what it's like. It's kind of like they fizzle, they come in, they fizzle, they come in, they come in. But with Graham and Carl's idea about where they want to take Blackburn, it kind of was like, well, I kind of feel lucky to be able to get the opportunity with a group of guys that have that vision. They want to make Blackburn a fortress. They want to do it. They want to do it right. I mean, they've got it set up like a business, basically. You know, you've got your marketing, you've got your sponsorships, you got everything separated, but everybody's together in a way. You know what I mean? You got a different media team. Graham, you got, you know, he does a lot of the podcasts and things like that.
A lot of creeping around in fucking darkness,
yeah.
scaring our guests. Ooh.
But that's what turned me on to the idea. I was like, well, actually, this isn't just, hey, come in and run everything and do it all. It's all on you. And that's what I told.
Would that have been a hard no, by the way?
Hard no.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, they went in because that was the first thing I said. And you know, I was talking to Sarah about it, and I was like, you know, I should go take this meeting. She's like, yeah, you probably should. So I went out there, cool. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it from work because that's most likely what's going to happen. I'm going to have to make that drive. So I went from work, I met with them, and then when they sat down and separated everything about what they wanted to do, I thought, okay, well, you're not going to be able to do it because there's not enough, like, you're not going to be able to do it a certain way. Like, here's a budget, go win a championship. It's not going to happen. There's not enough talent spread out.
Not with Solway in that league. You got fucking no chance. No chance.
Even
if you guys had an extra £1,000 a week on what you've got now, you're still not going to beat Solway to the title.
It's tough, man. I mean,
it's not going to happen.
Good. They are good. It's good all the way through. Not just like they can lose their top guy and still go out and beat you 7-1, 7-2 on a good night that they're having. And if you're having a mediocre night, can I give you a difficult question then? Go ahead.
But you said you're new to listening to the podcast, yeah? So you might not know, you might know, you might not know. About 8 weeks ago, Mark, we did the 12. Basically, we're talking about YouTube content when we come back to this YouTube game and started actually put some content out there. We wanted to know what we're going to talk about. And something I'm a big believer in is that National League, they brought it to 11. We need 12 teams. And if we're going to have 12 teams, it should be Solway. They've earned their dues. They deserve to be in the national. So we did a video there. Then we followed it up with a video live with Grubby and Ross Murray. It's since then gone on to, you know, a follow-up video where we've given a little update. This team that they have now, you know, the National League, maybe it's a little bit different from since you last know, but your coach, you got your eye in the game. If you add, say, and I'm going to be hypothetical here, but if you add 3 current elite league guys, I want to name them, but I'm not going to do it. 3 good elite league guys, good veterans, solid, and then 2 young up and comers, and maybe they steal a guy from. And some imports. Yeah. How do you think they compete at that level? You get to see them. You get to see them against your team.
I think 100% they're ready, and they've got a really good system there. And Grub's been great with me, to be honest with you. And he was one of the first guys I spoke with. I went out to take a look at Alex Aldale. I was told, hey, you need to look at this kid, and I went to the GB trials over in Sheffield. And that's when I kind of just walked in the room. I was like, oh yeah, I know him. And then I saw Martin. I was like, you know, I'm interested in looking at one of the goalies and this and that and talking. And then we got into the conversation about, you know, where we were going and stuff like that. And he was all for it. And he's like, we need to make the league a more competitive league. And it was like, here I am talking to a guy within the league who's actually giving me a list of players to look at, you know, and as far as I'm concerned, everything that you just mentioned, you put them in that league, they'll be fine. They'll be absolutely fine. They'll challenge.
They'll challenge.
They'll challenge.
And I think they will.
I do. I think so. I really do. And I think it would be. And I'm not saying this because I want them out of our league because it gives us a better chance. But
it strengthens the league, doesn't it? Would you agree?
It makes us more competitive. But at the same time, it brings, you know, Solway into the fact that, hey, you do it the right way. You do it the way that they've done it for the last few years, and you build. You don't jump right into it. It has to be when they're ready, not well, let's just throw them in and see what happens. No, they're doing everything right, and we kind of looked at them, and they're a club that I, as a coach, admire. You know, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, well, if they can do it, why can't we? you know, and yeah, they might have the pick of the litter up there, but it's just, in my honest opinion, there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to compete in that league. There's no reason. They have the base, they have the organization, they're doing things right. They've got the right guys in place. You know, the coaching, the development system.
Yeah,
that's the way it is. But it didn't come overnight. It came with a lot of work, and I guarantee you, a lot of communication. And that's something that I feel gets left behind in English ice hockey, is the communication part. That's what I feel.
Oh yeah, we say that every week, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All I heard was the word communication. I missed it. I missed 2 minutes. Can I have a guess? Guys, you're my witnesses. You're watching this on YouTube.
Yeah.
Not just you boys. Every all of you. Like, all I heard was the word communication. Talking about the EIHA being shit.
Hey, well,
how close was I?
Well, we were talking more about communication between the team things, but
I was going to say, because it could be the EIHA, i.e., not letting these NIHL teams in the north and the south, the twos. Absolute travesty. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you.
I don't know what it is there. I have no idea.
Travesty what they've done to those teams.
They talk about the travel and stuff, but I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, they're the National League. In my opinion, the National League and the Elite League are not there for development. They're there to win hockey games. They're businesses. They need to win fucking hockey games. That's my opinion. At our level, we're here to win hockey games. We have a business to run. We need to make sure fans come in the building to survive. But we can work heavily on development because the players are good enough to put a competitive team on the ice, and it's being proved right now. It is, and that's
either that or you just end up with a team of 35-year-olds. Because if your league's not about development, all that happens is the players go, well, fuck this. They're going to leave, and the only guys you can get are the guys that are going, we're done with hockey now. We're going to step down and come and play.
We don't need those guys, though. I'm not saying.
Yeah, but you need 5 of those on a team. You don't need 15 of those on a team. You need you need young Shudra. You need the young kids coming down from Scotland on 2 ways. You need loads of these kids.
Well, you need those guys pushing up too. You need the Harcourts. You need, the Grimeses. You need these guys to start to realize. And this was the challenge that I was like, well, this is going to be a challenge to be able to get the message across. But we have to have the right guys, not the guys that are just kind of want to play at the NHL 1 and this and that when they're at a younger age. We want the guys that want to get here and get gone. That's what we want. Because if you can get a steady pool of those guys coming through, then you're going to be fine, because you're still going to be able to create a competitive team, but you're still going to be able to move players on. And that's where I feel that gap is.
Where does all the Woody and that start looking when you go, oh, that kid came out of Blackburn. Oh, next year that kid came out of Blackburn. Yeah. Year 3, 4, 5, and 6. Who the fuck do you think they're ram raiding every summer? They're coming back to the world. They're coming back to Blackburn and going, Aussie's just spitting these kids out. He's got this kid. He was 17. He went from 18 points a season. He's now 18. He's on fucking 40 points a season, playing PP. He's doing this. Then he goes up and signs with the Steel Dogs. Woody gives him a shot at the Steel Dogs. And then before you know it, that's the progression that we need to, because there seems to be no desire. And I don't know how you sit on this being a former elite leaguer, no desire for these kids to go to the elite league. But if you're 17, can go from there to the national, from you, imagine your pathway is, not many kids get this pathway, from you to Woody, or you to Slava, or Grubby to Tommy Watkins or whatever, and then to the elite league. Not many guys are going to get that pathway. Yeah. But we start needing some to do it. We need some because we don't have any fucking players. We need some that want to do it.
It starts below us too. It's not just about making the connections to that league, because the gap is still big. Huge. I mean, we had Lee Pullett was signed with us, right? And there was another guy, I'm not going to name him, who was signed with us that we were just about to announce that ended up in the National League too as well. But that's the thing, is it's like, well, yeah, we lost them at the last second. We scrambled a little bit and our team dynamic changed completely, but we found a way to not replace that, because of course you're not going to replace that because there's not enough of them. So we found a way to bring in a couple younger guys, put them in the spot, start to play them a lot more. They're getting the ice time. I mean, our team was, I think, 60 to 70% of guys that didn't see a regular shift last year at our level. That's got to prove something. But I'm not saying it's me. I'm not saying it's Blackburn. I'm saying it's the guys who are willing to put in the work and getting the chance and the ice time and a little bit of direction. That's what we're not miracle workers, but the guys have to buy into it. And if they don't buy into it, then they're going to fall behind. End of. That's it. We developed a pathway now from academy almost to the NIHL to us to that. But if those guys don't believe in the process, then they're not going to make it. They have to understand that you have to dominate the NIHL too. You may dominate the NIHL too, even at a younger age. Come to us, but you may not be able to dominate at the NIHL 1 level. You have to play that third line role, possibly, not playing power play.
Block a shot for the first time.
Exactly. Like,
oh, that hurts.
Yeah. Well, you have to sculpt your all around game. That's what you have to do, and
you become a team player, right? Because
you have
when you're good at those shittier levels, let's face it.
What does the coach say?
Hey, give the puck to this kid. And he's going to get 4 tucks.
That's it.
And he's not been back over his red line once in fucking 28 games. And then he goes up to the next level, and it's like, oh my God, I just got rocked on that shift. That was my first shift. Yeah. Oh, I haven't won a face-off in 5. Oh, that guy just beat me on the fucking wing down the point. And then you're like, oh, okay, this is different. This is really different. And then you find out real quick. And you find out you're in quicksand because the levels step up. And then when it goes to the national, you're not as fast. And then when it's in the elite league, it's 4 times as fast. So you need to be like aware of the what your level you're at and where you want to go, that you want this as a stepping stone. I want it, like you said, I want to whip up the NIHL 2 when I'm 16. And then I want to rip up the NIHL 1 when I'm 17, so that I go to the National League and play 2 years there, 18, 19, and then maybe a fucking Coventry Blaze or someone grabs me in the Elite League and I get a 2-way with them and a national, but 20. It's only 21, you're ready to go Elite League.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, 2-ways are hard. 2-ways are very, very hard because we do depend on a couple guys that are on 2-ways. You got, Jake Lutwich with, he's on a 2-way with Manchester. Yeah. And when they need him, if he goes, we have to completely change the dynamics of our strategy on the weekend. I'm not saying our guys aren't capable of it, because they will be, and they are at the moment in time. They're showing they are. But it's tough as an organization when you lose a guy like that, when you're fighting for that last spot, or that, you might finish a spot higher than the spot below, but you have to do the right things by the guys too as well, because it can't just go the organization's way, and it can't just go the players' way. There's got to be, and it can't just go the team above you's way either. Yeah. There's got to be that level of communication. There's got to be that level of, well, what do we really do? If a coach came to me and told me, Dom, for instance, Shuja's going to play 10 shifts a period this weekend. Well, we it doesn't matter what position we're in. We bought into that. We have to move him because he's going to get the opportunity. He's going to go. He's going to play. And that's what we need to be about.
Versus riding the pine.
Yeah, having those guys there helps the guys, that are trying to move into that spot, because then they get moved into the spot that he's in, right? And give them the opportunity. And then we move a guy from the NIHL 2 up to us to take that guy's spot. And it's got to be a complete pathway. That's the pathway. But don't get me wrong, and I think that there's a lot of people that think, or a lot of players that think, well, I want to go to Blackburn because they have a pathway and I'm going to get to the Hawks. That's not the case. The thing is, you got, if you want to move there, if you've got to be the best player, whether the kid comes from Manchester, from Bradford, from anywhere, you have to be that guy that outworks that other guy. So just because you're in the system with us doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to get that chance with us. You've got to show that you want to earn that chance, and you have to be able to play that. But you need the competition. That's what we don't have here.
Not at junior level. Junior level is a gong show.
At the moment,
how are kids supposed to get better when you play 6-7 different teams and the goal differences? If you're a good team, let's go back to my kind of era. if you were like the Swindon or Guildford, unless you played like Basingstoke, we were kind of like a middle of the road, like Cardiff. You might beat us 6-4, you might beat us 5-3. But there was also 4 or 5 other teams in the league that those teams beat 12, 15, fucking 20 every week. That was 20 years ago, mate, and it's fucking worse now.
Yeah. And that's,
how are they supposed to get better?
That's the issue. Now, the other thing that I'm sure we'll talk about, because I know I heard you guys talk about this, and something that I believe in 100%. What's this rule about not being able to have players train with you that are younger? Why are they stopping that?
Makes no sense as if for development. If you're good enough, it shouldn't matter.
Well, it's not just that. It's that they need to put enough trust in the coaches and the guys put in place that this kid's going to come out and train with us. Yeah, he's not going to play in the league, fine. But we as coaches have to say, actually, you know what? He can stand his own ground. He can come out here and skate with us. And I know that I'm not going to put him in a position to go battle with Ryan Watt in a corner when he's 14 years old and expect not for him not to get hurt. You know what I'm saying? So, but what's the harm in having him in a few drills to get the pace up, to get the level up, to say, oh, shit, I got to skate at this level to be able to get to the next level? Why? That's my only concern. My only question is, why can't you have these kids on the ice with you? That's
there's no downside to it. There's no downside to it.
Sorry?
There's no downside to it.
But I get that there's rules and insurances and things like that, but these kids at a younger level, they need to be on the ice with a higher level. They have to. The kids need to be on the ice with us. And if we can't get them on the ice, then of course what's going to happen? And everybody's like, well, why does everybody leave the country? Why is that? Because they can't skate with a senior team at 14. That's why. They can't play until they're 16, right? But if you have a 15-year-old that's, 6 foot, strong, can handle himself. We had a kid that was skating with us all year. I'm not going to name his name, but he skated with us quite a few times on a Thursday night that can completely handle the level. There's no problem. There's no doubt in my mind.
Robbie said the same thing.
To the point where he could probably handle even the NIHL, the National League level. So why is he not on the ice constantly with those guys? And why?
Politics, mate. Politics.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about politics. I don't know enough about it to even mention it. But all I'm saying is, if they want to keep the kids in the country and start developing kids in the country, you've got to make some rules, maybe bend them a little bit to the point where they can put them in the best position to be able to develop here and stay here, instead of, well, little Johnny, he's 15 years old. He can't play at the NIHL level, so we're going to send him across the border. We're going to send him to here, to there, to everywhere. And then they just end up back here anyway. So, and it's not, I'm not saying that even, well, there are a lot of parents that probably can't even afford to do that. And that's where these kids get left behind. And so that's my thing, is we need to find a way to create that ability for those players to be able to at least train with us. At least. That's the minimum.
Well, that's going to be one of the subjects of our next YouTube. I'm going to take them off because it's shining in the light. That's going to be, me and Mark were talking off a couple of days back, and it's going to be one of the subjects that we're going to push. Obviously, we push the Solway thing right now, but the next thing that we're pushing is dispensation for it. I'm not saying every kid, because I think 3 kids, 4 kids max in the entire country, 15-year-olds, like, because we don't produce 4 players a fucking year as it is. So if there's 4 kids that can do it, 5 kids maybe max that can do it, give them the opportunity. But they have to be the best. Like, they have to be the best kids, because then you don't have any fallback of, well, this kid probably shouldn't have been here. He's broke his collarbone because he run into fucking Big John and D. We go, no, we picked the fucking best 4 players in the entire country that are, like, Connor McDavid, like, he was one. There was Tavares, he was one. It was like there was only ever 1 or 2 guys. There was never like, oh, we're giving 6 guys dispensation this year. One or two guys get it, and I get that. That's fine.
If you put a panel together, you know what I mean? Just say, look, like, let's evaluate them. Put a few coaches in front of them. Let them skate with the teams and say, yeah, actually, you know what?
He's good.
he is good. But then, yeah, you know what? So what? It puts it on our heads, and it puts it on my head, and that's the thing. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, if I have confidence enough for this kid to be able to handle it, fine. You know, I've got I have a player now who stepped up from the NIHL too. He got absolutely rocked the last few games, but he's popped back up. You know, he's good. He's all right, but he's very good at
how many of these you got?
The way of these guys.
How many? I said, how many of these you got?
Oh,
yeah,
you don't want to
no,
know.
mate. This one was Jason Robinson, 16 years old, against London, playing in the Elite League. Skate down the left wing, cut across the blue line. Jason Robinson come from this side, saw him come at the last minute, moved out the way. I was like, woo! And he went, boom! And I was like, oh, okay, that was different. And I got back to the bench, and they're like, yeah, we're going to zippers in there. You learn real fucking quick.
Yeah, but those situations are going to happen. This last weekend was the same situation. You know, big guy versus little guy, an older guy. I would say an older guy, but you know, yeah, he was taking runs at players and stuff like that. Which, hey, you know what? That's got to be up to the refs and stuff to handle that. But the kid's going to learn how to get out of the way, and he's going to learn how to be a better hockey player. I'm sorry to say because that's just the way it's going to be. And as long as the parents, the player, the coaches, everybody are in agreement, give them the opportunity. Because I'm not going to bring a player up that I think, well, I'm not bringing that kid up because
you're trying to win hockey games, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And if he's not good enough, you're not going to put him in your roster.
Not. If I feel like, well, I'm not going to bring him up because he's just going to get fucking hurt, and I'm not going to have another player to replace him. Why would I bring him in? So we'll always have the best interests of the player at heart. That's all there is to it. We will, and there's no player down there that's not going to be ready that we're going to bring in just to fill a spot. And I get that, and that's probably what they're worried about. But
some of them are athletes now. These kids, though, right?
Sorry.
So some of these kids are athletes. Like I train a 14-year-old girl right now. She is a Great Britain gymnast, and she's hoping to go to the European Championships this year in her category. She's never really deadlifted. She's been training with me for about 8 weeks. We started building it up. This 14-year-old kid pulled a fucking 95 kilo deadlift last week. She's an athlete. There's guys in your okay, like 225 pound deadlift at 14-year-old. Yeah, this girl. There's guys in your league that can't even pull that weight.
No.
But that goes to the same thing. She's an athlete. There's going to be 14, 15-year-old lads that are athletes that are ready for this shit. Like they probably pull 120, 140, 150. Yeah. Like strong kids that can do this. Like they're not weak.
And they're there for a reason. And their parents are begging you for a reason. But I do. There is one thing that I do respect about the IHA, and it's where they're going with the players who are not that technically can't really play hockey, but are just to be there. You know, a guy like your brother, let's put him there. The kid could skate, he could shoot, he could pass, he could play hockey. He's tough as nails. He was one of my favorite players, to be honest with you. When I had him, it was, and when I played with him, I say I had him as a coach, but when I played alongside that guy, he was one of my favorite players because he could do it all, right? But then you've got the guys who can't do it all, who literally are out there just to maybe, I don't know,
get pucks in, get pucks out.
And be like, no, to go out and literally hunt for heads.
Oh, just do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, get out of here. We're not interested anymore. And I respect that about the IHA.
So do you miss having maybe a guy like my brother on your roster? Because let me tell you something right now. Nobody does that to Stratton.
Hey, Ollie and I talk about that all the time.
Nobody does it to Stratton.
Hey, we do. But the game is in a transition period right now.
But I think it's transitioning back, Ozzy. Look I think in the next year to 18 months, guys like Delorier, Wilson, not Reeves, because I don't know, he seems to be getting fucking worse as this time goes on. But Delorier and Wilson and guys that can play, they're starting to go, shit, we actually do need a tough guy, because it really sucks when Crosby misses 9 weeks for concussion, and it really sucks when Ovi misses it. Like, you know, hypothetically, fucking 4 weeks getting slashed. Hey, you're a coach now of a guy who's played in. We're going to get onto your mind league career in a minute. But you've played obviously with some tough guys in those minor leagues who would have your back in a fucking hot minute without a second's thought.
You know
that gives you how big does that make you?
Do you know how big I played when I was
it's like this.
when I was playing on a line with Cloutier? Like you go look at my penalty minutes and from 1 year to the other. When I was playing on a line with Cloutier, I was a bigger hockey player. I played a little bit more fearless because I knew I wasn't going to get cheap shotted. But hey, I wasn't one to back down.
He knocked Jeremy Cornish out. Nobody does that.
Oh, Jesus.
That's how tough that human being is. If he dropped Corny.
He's a human for sure, that guy. When he was on the ice, nobody you weren't safe if you took a cheap shot. You weren't, because anything that you did, he was going to do to you worse, cleaner. So that's all there is to it. There's and a good example of that is when and this is a pretty good story. You might be able to still see it. It comes up every once in a while. And I was texting with a buddy of mine the other day, and I was like, wow, like I got ran from behind in Dundee, like bad. And you know what, to be honest with you, I have a relationship with Hutchinson from Fife because, you know, we talk about one of our...
Jeff Hutchins.
Yeah, Jeff Hutchins, that's it. Sorry, not Hutchinson.
Yeah.
But Jeff Hutchins, you know, at the end of the year, ran me from behind. Now, I popped back up. It wasn't... I think he was going to hit me. It was an awkward situation. I don't think he would have
bad timing, maybe.
Bad timing, but still.
But he was a bit of a prick, though. So he played like a bit of a prick. So you don't know. You don't know. You kind of go, was that bad timing, or was that old Jeff? Was that old Jeff who just run me straight through the fucking numbers?
Yeah, there was no reason for him to do it because I never had any run-ins with him. And trust me, I can run my mouth and I could stick guys and stuff that I'd say, "Ooh, yeah, I remember I did that to him, so I kind of deserved it." But the fact is, he ran me. I was safe. I got up, but my helmet and gloves were off by the time I got up, and I went for him. I think I got 2 punches in before Klutz ran us both. He took us both down, and I'm like, I think at this point I'm behind Hutchins, but I see Klutz above him, so I'm on the ground. Hutchins is on me, and I see Klutz coming in, and all I can see is Klutz paw, like it's like that big. When he closes his fist, it's like huge, and I could see it coming at me, and I was like, "What the hell?" You know what I mean? But that's the guy that you're missing. You're missing that. But the guy can play. That's the thing. That's what you're looking at. So when we go back to the younger guys, yeah, you do want that guy. You do need that guy.
Well, imagine having Paxton Shorty around these kids.
Sorry?
Imagine having someone like Paxton Shorty around these kids on a fucking Thursday night for an hour.
No.
So you telling me that they would not be better hockey players because of being around that human being for an hour? Like, I played against him and just 4 or 5 times, 6 times a season or whatever it was back then. Just watch him. Like, so I was 16, 17. I was like, and then he'd drop dummy your fucking tough guy. You're like, oh, he's done that as well, right? Yeah, he's got it all.
And that was a thing. And we had a few of those guys. I mean, look at Campbell. Oh man. Again, a guy I played with in the Stingrays.
Who's that? Derek
Campbell.
Scariest human I've ever fought.
Nicest human I've ever met.
So scary to fight.
Nicest human I've ever met. But when he was there, you know, he could play. The kid, when he was on, he was on. I mean, he was the one that sent us to the Final Four alone against Sheffield when we had no business being in that game with them or in that position at all when we upset Sheffield that first year. Campbell scored a hat trick. I think he had like 4 or 5 points that night. But the kid would do anything for his teammates and he would protect you. Yes, we miss that. And I understand that the game is changing and things like that. But you've got to find an equal way of leveling it out to the point where you can protect your younger guys, but also be able to have enough confidence to be able to bring them in like we do. You know, and do we have a flat out tough guy right now? No, we don't. But are our guys standing up to it?
Team tough, right?
Sorry?
You got to be team tough.
Yeah,
that's you don't need one guy. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to have the guy, but it also means that every now and again, one of you boys is going to have to jump in and get a slap for your pal.
You gotta have to.
And do you know
That
what?
one-
It makes you a better fucking team. No one cares if you win the fight. Like, just you jump in the mix, you protect your teammate. That goes a long way. You know, next time
Yeah.
maybe he dives in front of a shot and takes one of the ribs for you. It
Yeah.
swings in roundabouts. You find yourself putting your body on the line for your teammates. You find that come back in spades, right, Ozzy?
Yeah.
Does it not? Like, if you put your body on the line for your teammates,
100%.
that's coming back to you. It's coming back to you in spades. So you just do it, and it
And
makes you a
that's
better club.
where the game is different, because it's hard to get guys in shooting lanes now. It's hard to and I get it. You got to work the next day, but the fact of the matter is, we're in a
Still
point
trying
now.
to win.
We're trying to win hockey. And
We're
you
trying
gotta
to
get
win.
shooting. We always did. I mean, even to the point where I'm trying to get guys to stand in front of the net. Ask your brother. Again, I'll go back to it. There was nobody crazy enough to stand in front of the net besides, I think, me and Ryan.
That was my job.
When Thamar was shooting the puck on a power play. There was
Mate,
two people.
Seska used to hit me on the collarbone on a regular basis. It fucking
God.
sucked. Was Thamar the same?
You don't understand how hard a shot is.
In a game, right, you almost don't mind. The ones I didn't like, Tuesday night, first practice of the week, and you hit me in the rib or the back of the knee. I'm like,
Yeah.
We've been on the ice for 8 minutes. This is fucking bullshit. I'm going to spear one of you in the face if you do it again.
Yeah.
Stop hitting me with the puck.
And
then at the weekend, when it bounces off your rib and goes shelf, you're like, woo, yeah, buddy.
I remember standing there, and again, if you ask Ryan, when you're standing in front of the net and that guy shoots the puck, you can hear it go by you. When you hear it go by you and you hear it hit a post, a net, even the goalie, the thud that it makes, the noise it hits, like when it hits the netting, you know it's gone in. And you're like, thank God that didn't hit me, because it'd leave a 3-foot hole coming out. Like, that's all there is to it. But we don't have that right now, because that's how hockey's played. And we don't have that. We need to figure out how to get that back. But
why did we lose it in the first place? Why have we lost it, Ozzy? Why have we lost it?
I don't think you've ever lost it. I don't think you'd ever had it. I don't think that you've had enough players at 13, 14, and 15 years old been taught how to screen a goaltender. You haven't. I'll do it on a Thursday night. I'm sure Graham's been there. I will go stand in front of the net with my tracksuit on, and I'll tell a player to shoot the puck from the goal, from the blue line. Shoot it, and shoot it waist high. And I'll either get out of the way,
or get out of the way. Yeah,
yeah. But that's the thing is guys are so afraid of it because they're not taught the right way. You teach a defenseman to shoot for the netting, not for the middle of the net. So your safest bet is to stand in front of the net and in front of the goalie, right? So this is the thing. This is where your development process isn't there. It's not there. I don't think it's ever existed. That's my honest opinion with it. But once you get guys showing these kids how to do these things, that's when they're going to get better. They're going to be better hockey players. And it's a little thing. It's a tiny little thing, Nikki. And when you get these little things that add up, you get a whole package out of the player. And that's what's going to bring your players up from here to here. That's it.
I got 2 points on that. First one, talk about little things. Obviously, I was lucky enough to go and play at IMG Academy when I was like 15, 16. And it's wild because I'd actually been coaching at this point. Obviously, been on practices my whole life as a player. But maybe first or second practice into the start of the season, coached by John Parrish Jr. He's been on the podcast. You go around the board and he's like, right, pucks need to be here, 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 and here. And everyone's like fucking hard rimming pucks and doing all that. And he's like, right, Watty, the fucking pucks need to be on that far blue. I want you to source these 40 pucks that are here and hit, on the stanchion, and when it comes up, I want you to hit that 40 times.
Yeah.
He's instead of just shooting the pucks over there, he was like, that's a breakaway pass. Source those pucks. And I was like, that's so effective. It was one thing.
Yeah.
And then he would make me at the end of practice, mate. And I used to fucking hate him. I want to slash him in the head all the time. I can't cross over left over right as well as I can right over left. Yeah. So at the end of practice, he was like, right, see that center circle? You're going to skate around 100 times. And then you're going to have a break. And then you're going to skate around 100 times. And then you're going to get off the ice. And I was like, we just skated for fucking 2 hours. He's like, yeah. And you're going to skate for another 30 minutes. And just one way, one circle. Just go and go and go and go.
I don't think we've even scratched the surface yet. We with what I've tried to do from a coaching perspective with these guys is literally, basics. The basics. That's what we've worked on all year long. and we're finally doing the basics at a speed that we didn't have. We've always had speed because the guys that we have can skate, they could shoot, they could pass. They didn't know where to skate. They didn't know
in a format.
How to skate, and it's and that's where you could see the. I'm gonna say it. The development of our team from where we were from the start to where we are now is just because we've learned how to do the basics. Well, next year it's a different story. We get into now. You know the basics. We're gonna get into 101 now.
Yeah,
you know, like that's what we're gonna do. It's hockey 101 now, and then hockey 102, and that's how you develop. But that's how I feel Solway's done it. They've done it the right way from the development process. But it's not just on the ice; it's off the ice. It's everywhere within the organization. You go to the basics, you build a base, and you build from there.
We're talking about building bases. Leeds, mate, they went from Leeds Chiefs, 10th in the fucking league, to Leeds Knights, 4th in the league. COVID. Leeds Knights, 4th in the league, champions. 800 people, 1,200 people, fucking sell out. That's off to the ice, man. You get that as well, and it just. They brung this kid Finley Braden in. I got to watch him a couple of times this year. I like this kid. I think he plays a lot in your league. He looks like the fucking real deal. And you know, there's some exciting kids come through that NHL North. Obviously, apart from Finley, is there anyone else that maybe springs to mind?
We picked up Shoots.
I mean, that kid helps.
He's a very, very good hockey player for 18 years old, but he's raw. Right, it's his first real year of playing senior hockey. Right, so when they picked him up, he trained with them, you know, and stuff like that when he was in Sheffield, right, and he's not playing enough. That's the issue. And when you're playing in games, that's when you start to develop your game and realize what works, what doesn't. And in practice, you can do anything you can do. And everything you can do, and you could be the hardest worker on the ice. It doesn't matter. But if you're not playing game time and doing those things and bringing them into the game, you're not going to develop as a hockey player. But credit to him, he's realized it.
Give an example, that the fans might not realize as a player, like how much it would develop your confidence. Right? There's 9 seconds to go. You're a centerman, and like this would be me when I was playing EPR, and the coach taking an import centerman off. To put me on to take the fucking draw because I was 70% on draws pretty much my whole career. They knew I could take a draw, but my confidence would then go up because I just saw my coach pull a fucking import off in a defensive zone draw with 4 seconds left when they've pulled their goalie. If I lose this draw, we're fucked.
Yeah.
The fact that he puts me in that situation, I'm like, let's fucking go, baby. Let's go. Like, I'm going to win this draw.
He knows you're probably not going to win the draw. What he knows is you're going to make sure that the other guy doesn't win it.
He's never going to win the draw.
That's it. The other guy's not going to win the draw.
Ever.
That's what, and you just mentioned import, right? Now, you have to be careful with this situation, too, because when you look at imports, usually they look at a guy who can just go out, skate on his own and score fucking 50 goals a year and wants 300-400 quid a week. That's what imports are in this league. You need to find the right imports, and we found a right import, a North American style import. That's what we found. And no, he's not North American, right?
But it suits your style of play, right?
He's played there, but he does. He knows the North American game, so he knows how to play the complete game. He's not just offensive, and he's more effective. And he brings the guys along and helps the guys, yes, because he has played over there and he has played at a higher level. I wouldn't even say higher level, but he's played at a point where he was taught things that our guys haven't been taught. And believe it or not, pick the guy. We found him in rec. You know what I mean? Because
come on, what's his name?
David.
Good for this guy. I love that.
Yeah, but that's the thing is
what was that? Just fucking blowing like off his guy's ankles off at 12 p.m. on a Thursday before he started playing with you boys. The guys are gotta get up and go like develop code in the morning. He's hit them in the fucking collarbone.
Yeah. But he's not a rec player because he was committed to Framingham State University in the States.
He's a player. He was a player. Like he was a player.
He was a player. He was playing juniors in the States. He was committed to Framingham State University. I know some guys that have been there and they've gone on to play pro. But you don't commit to a university like that without having a complete game. I'm sorry to say it. But the COVID thing screwed him over because now all of a sudden, 2 years later, the kid can't get into university because he's 2 years older. He can't physically get in. So he's come back to live with his parents here in England. Yes, he classifies it as an import. All he wants to do is play hockey and get to the next level. That's all he wants to do. That's the type of import I want to put our players with. I want to put our Dylan Harcourt, our Ronnie Grimes, our younger guys that we're pulling through, our Matty Crosses, our Phillips. We want to put those guys with that kind of player, that kind of import. And if we end up with an import, because trust me, if we have a chance to, and it's in the budget, and we have an opportunity to bring in an import who can score 50 goals a year, you better be damn sure that he's going to be ready to play D-zone with us, because I'm not going to take him scoring 50 goals but letting in 70. What's the point? So these are all the little things that I feel, and yeah, you know what, these might be secrets and stuff like that they're thrown out there, but the fact of the matter is it's only going to help us get better. It's only going to help us recruit better, and it's only going to help the league get better, and it's only going to help our players get better. So we have a more competitive structure. That's what we're trying to do and accomplish. But I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm just saying that this is what we're trying. Yeah. And it seems to be working because all of our guys have bought in, and they've done an unbelievable job. I'm so proud of the group that we have, because their eyes, their ears are like, it's like they've never seen hockey before. Like the drills are so basic, but there's a reasoning behind it. And then they're willing to listen. They're willing to learn. That's what's making us a better hockey team game in and game out. And
it seems basic to us though, Dom, yeah, but to these kids that are not getting fucking coached at juniors, and I love all you guys that give up your time to coach juniors, but I'm not being rude. 86% of you are fucking shit. Like you're not very good. You're not very good. You have no experience. You have nothing to actually really truly. When we're talking about, let's be being ruthless, Dom. You don't have to go along with this. This is my take. Being ruthless. A lot of these people that are doing the coaching and doing development don't have anything to offer these fucking kids in terms of becoming a better ice hockey player.
But who else is there?
Well, they need to start finding budgets, and actually it's a job. By the way, coaching 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids in ballet, in gym, in fucking anything else, it's a job. So when you expect your ex-pros who have made 250 quid a week, which is no money in the EPL, to then come back and give up their time for free to then coach, tell you what, they were making 100 grand a month back then playing in the EPL. Yeah, come back and give your fucking time up for free. But nowadays, hey, when it cost me £4 just to switch my kitchen light on, you're going to have to pay me to come out of my house
it's
and
not
coach.
Not just that. Think about where the rinks are. Okay, so there's not enough rinks. So, for instance, I live in a central like area where there's rinks that I have access to. Leeds is 50 minutes away. Hull is 50 minutes away. Blackburn's an hour and a half away. Manchester, hour and a half away. There, you're looking at not saying paying the guys, but and paying these coaches, but covering at least their fuel cost.
Well, even that, mate. Even that's something.
Yeah,
but what is it? I think 160. 167.9 for a litre of diesel around by me. In my car does maybe 28 miles to the gallon. So if I was coaching Slough, it's going to cost me 20 quid to get there and back. And then if I'm coaching there 4 times a week, there's 80 quid. So So if I'm not making any money, I'm just expected to take £320 out of my wife's, food budget, my baby's budget.
Yeah.
Just to come and volunteer to coach your kids.
Well, let's not mention the miles on the car either.
And the miles on the car, and then you need new tires, 200 quid a tire, whatever it is on like a nice car. That's what it costs.
No, I agree. And I don't think that there's enough investment in coaches in this country. That's again something.
Ozzy, unless you do what you said. What did you do, and what did I do?
Yeah,
we had a camp, but that was down to us though. We had to arrange it. I had to get 65 kids on my camp. Nobody else was getting 65 kids on their fucking camp.
No.
But we had to do it. It wasn't gifted to us. It wasn't like, hey, here you go, buddy. Here's a hockey school with 100 kids on it. All you got to do is turn up on Monday and go, yeah, let's do a horseshoe. It wasn't like that. It was a business. You had to go out, email fucking thousands of parents. You had to talk to parents all the time in amongst your part-time jobs and everything else.
My camps were set up during the season. I was emailing parents, putting them into it. By the time I got back from England, from the season I was playing, from everything, I had my lessons, I've had my schools, everything was lined up. It was done and sorted to cover the cost of what I needed to cover the cost for. Because if not, I was going to have to go out and paint houses and do this. Because I'm sorry, but my it doesn't pay the bills. It never did. You know, and that was the other thing, is you have to find places to live when you're going to do that at that point. I was lucky enough to be supported by the junior family that was there. It was a family. That's what they were. They had billets. They had you know, and there were rooms available. There were, you know, guest houses available to rent for the summer.
Miss McGill.
Well,
he was Miss McGill.
But a lot of
hard as little rocks.
But a lot of that was, you know, well, I'll tell you what, you can stay in my guest house, but my kid gets to, you know, get some lessons for free or something like that. You pay a certain amount of rent, but okay, well, yeah, I'm not ashamed to say it.
Trade for trade, yeah. Like, let's go.
Of course it was. I needed a place to live, but also their kids needed training.
Tuition.
So what did we do? I said, well, look, I'll pay you this amount per month to live there, and I'll let little Johnny skate in this camp, and this camp for free, but you have to pay me for the private lessons. Like, it's because the private lessons.
Scratch my back, scratch yours.
Exactly. That's how it is. But there's not enough of that here right now. Like, we're trying something now. What we're going to try and do is set up a billet situation.
Oh, amazing! Really?
But that's the get. That's
unheard of in the UK, by the way. Aussie, fair play, man.
It's hard, and I was told it can't be done. But you know what?
Bullshit. Of course, it can be done.
Hey, you know what?
How many good hockey people have you met in the UK? Oh, fucking course it can be done. Some of the best people you ever meet are in UK hockey, who would give their left fucking bollock for a kid they've never even met. Yes, this will work in the UK. The fact that you're rolling it out is bravo.
And it's because there needs to be communication. There needs to be, you know, you need to set it up. You need to reach out, and I don't think anybody really has reached out. We've got a lot of good local talent, but we've also got a few players that, well, are coming down from Scotland. It's not a secret. We've had Brody Kay down here. Yeah. Ben Ketty, unbelievable 18-year-old goalie, coming up through the ranks. But the unfortunate part with him is he lives in friggin' Scotland. He's a
Kirkcaldy boy, is he not?
Yeah,
he's a Fife boy. Yeah,
yeah, but at the same time, they don't want to give up the fact that, and I get this completely, because he is training with the Flyers, and that's ice time.
Yeah, but that kid's not fucking touched any ice anywhere near there.
No, but he's not in the game, but he's going to be training with him. It makes him better.
Yeah, that's great. No, it makes him better. But I'm talking about on playing games. Their backup can't even get a game ahead of Shane Owen. Right, exactly. What chance that 18-year-old got? Right?
But that's where you get caught. You get caught in being a backup, and then you're just stuck because you're not getting any better. But
best door opener in the league by the age of 30, because you've been opening doors for fucking 54 games a season for 12 years. It was 600 games of experience going up and down, opening a fucking door.
Yeah. If I look at my roster right now, if I look at the roster that we've put together this year, 80% of them are skating with another team, level below or level up. That's all there is to it, and that's what we'll get back to. They need to skate more. They need to play more. They need to this, and then the other guys. I mean, the guys that are lower level, that are trying to make it as, you know, the full time D1 and everything like that. They're playing, with Bradford, with Altrincham. So I can't even say that word still. I can't even say it. I'm so bad with it.
At least I only get mixed up with like fucking Slovakian and Russian names. I get the UK ones right, at least.
And I can't even get it right. I'll say it 5 different ways.
By the way, you're getting a text message from the coach in 3, 2, 1. cocksucker right there. It's coming through hot on the WhatsApp right now. Right?
But that's where we're at with it, and that's what we're trying to do. Is we're just trying to create as much ice time for these kids as possible.
Absolutely,
but quality ice too. And you know, in Bradford, you know, you got the kids skating in Bradford on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday, and you got them skating there. Then we've got guys, you know, from the level going upwards to the National League. You know, Shoots is skating in Leeds, which is, you know, which is only 21. Remember that? Yeah, he's probably one of the best hockey players in the league. But he's skating regularly with the Storm. So, you know, you've got those guys that
are, like Finner, and Ginn are going to be good guys. Getting them involved, making sure that is welcome. They're good guys.
Yeah, and you know, Matty Davis is great enough to have you know, Thacker on the ice with him, Devin's on the ice with him, and this is open.
Is Matty making him do like fucking burpees and like clean and presses and pull-ups and shit? Matty's like, right, yeah, you can come and skate with his kid, but you got to be able to do 4,000 burpees in 25 minutes. Otherwise, you're not fucking coming.
Yeah.
How fit is Matty, by the way?
When it comes to fitness, holy hell,
he's a freak.
Yeah, but I'm also saying, you know, to these guys, they're trying to make an impression too. You know, he's not an import that wants to stick around, and I get that. He wants to make it to the next level, and I respect that 100%. But the first thing I told him is, whatever you do, if he puts you on the penalty kill during Friday nights, don't try and get in front of Thamar's shot. Dude. You know, don't be a hero, because
you ain't playing on Saturday. You're not playing on Saturday if you want to do that. Like.
Exactly. So these are the things that you worry about. You do
the old Friday flamingo practice. Ankle comes up. That's why you get your fucking ankle blown off in the laces. You could have just stood still and it hits you in the leg pads.
So
there's nothing more intimidating though, because your brain. You don't make, like you talked about it before, stand in front of the shot. Seski, whoever it was, all the guys that shot heavy. Covetton, when I played in Guildford, that guy could shoot the puck. Petram, when I played in Peterborough. Mm-hmm. Not one of these guys, they got 18 goals a year. They would have all got fucking 150 goals a year. They could hit the net. Because they would love to hit you in the chest, in the fucking neck. And like when that puck's coming at you at 100 miles an hour.
But also it teaches you how to be a hockey player. It teaches you how to be a hockey player. But let me tell you now, there was nothing worse than having to be on a penalty kill when you're practicing power play. There's nothing worse, because in a game, it's fine. It's absolutely fine in the game, because you take one off the shin pad or the ankle, or you go down to block a shot and you take one in the nuts, whatever. The guys are like, oh yeah, that's awesome. But you take it on a Thursday night at 10:30.
Everyone's laughing. Everyone's laughing. They're like,
it's like,
sucks to be you, man.
It's a different reaction. Even it's you know, during the game, it's like, yeah, where to go? You get it in practice, like, why did you get in the front of that? Why are you doing that?
It's like you just laid 300 fucking slabs today. Why are you jumping in front of Thamar's shot? It's 11 p.m. Sorry, guys. You know, couple of little Chardonnays. Actually, I said like it's a gin, but needed to have a little toilet break. And my man Mark's had to go over to sleep in Vienna. There, he's had a long day and they're an hour ahead. So we're still going strong in this interview, and we're going to go back to Dom and go back to what you're talking about just prior to the little pause there. So I'll let you just continue what you're talking about, mate. Really.
Well, no, it's just all I'm saying is I think that we're in a tough time at the moment with. I didn't know coming back into ice hockey and stuff that I feel like I haven't really missed a lot when it came to development, because when we put that Pirate team together at last minute, we struggled to find players and to compete. And that's, you know, the perfect example is Hull, you know,
right now. Yeah.
I thought Matty built a very, very good hockey team, but you know, losing the imports for however long you lost,
and then losing Matty.
Losing himself.
Losing Matty is the one, by the way.
And then you run into injuries. Then all of a sudden you're banking on kids like, you know, Owen Bruton, Alex Kent. They're doing a great job. They are. But they're still kids.
They're still developing. They're developing, yeah.
This is where it proves the point. Where have they been? What have they been doing? Because they're good skaters. They could shoot, they could pass, they could do this. But where's the development aspect in it? As far as the challenge, I'm not saying coaching. I'm not saying that the coaching is shit, the development is shit. it's where are they being challenged from that point when they're younger? This is what you have to somehow create. And I think that we can create this from our level. I feel that we can, but it has to be done through the pathway. We've just
how does it happen then? Give me right. Okay, so if I'm the EIHA, and I call you to a meeting and I say, Dom, 5 things to make 2, 1.
5 hard.
No, it's fucking not. I can give you a million things that make that fucking organization better off the top of my head, mate. There's so many things they do that are so short-sighted that they handcuff the development of the youth. Like we've got the NIHL 2 right now, South, that's just been awarded by forfeited fixtures. That cannot happen if you want these kids to aspire to play for their senior team. Just number one. How am I supposed to aspire to play in a team where the league gets fucking awarded by games that have not even been played? It's horseshit. Horseshit. It's embarrassing. How am I supposed to play 23 games blocking shots from my fucking neck? And then you go, oh, sorry, you didn't win the league. The league was decided because that team didn't have any ice time. So we went, let's just have a 0-0. That's all right. No, things like that can't happen. Referees consistency. Bullshit, man. Like,
I was going to ask you that. Why was it awarded? I didn't know.
Well, because what happened is Tony Lack, the legend that is Tony Lack, the fucking EIHA fixture secretary for the last donkey's years, who was military precision, getting every single fixture in the country out, he left.
Right.
It's not a very easy job, that one. That's probably I think you probably need a level of autism. I'm not taking a piss. I think you probably need a level of autism to make it work. Like, you need to be Rain Man to get women's NIHL 1 North, NIHL 1 South, NIHL 2 North and South, National, A-League, B-League, C-League, under 10s, under 12s, under 14s, under 16s, under 18s, North and South. If you can fucking do that, you are a genius. And he's now the councillor of Wokenham. So shout him out. He's like not the councillor, what do they call it? The mayor. He's a mayor of Wokenham. So shout out Tony Lack, you legend.
But then there's the uncontrollables, the rinks, the ice time, the rinks. I'm sorry to say there are.
It's only uncontrollable because they're pricing us out of everything, Aussie. But then you've got 12 people at a fucking skate because they're pricing them out of a public skate because it's 16 quid to go public skating now. It's not like you're going, well, you can't have the ice at £270 an hour. We're going to have it for public skate. But then we charge 15 quid for a public skate and we get 7 people there instead of charging £5 a skate and having fucking 700 people there. And making money. They don't actually make any money because it's so expensive to do anything. I think Basingstoke now with skate hire is £16, mate.
That's insane.
What the fuck is that?
We used to go out for $2, $3. That's
we skated for free if we remember the juniors back then.
Oh, God, and that's one thing that kills me is the rinks, the ice time. They should have that place packed out with teams playing, practicing every day of the week.
We need more council facilities where they're forced to do it. It's like, hey, this is for your community. This is for little Joe that lives in a fucking shithole council estate who's trying to get out of that and give himself a better future. But hey, do you know what? He's not very smart, but he's the most talented athlete you've ever met in your fucking life. Now this kid has an opportunity to get out of that shithole because you have a council-built facility. Yeah, he's not a runner. Yeah, you can't go to the local track or you can't go to the local football pitch and play for free. Yeah, his sport costs money. But there's no reason why he should not get to develop and leave the fucking hood versus the footballer or the rugby player or the guy that can run on the athletics track free fucking 5 days a week.
Yeah.
We need development. Like kids and we all go down different paths in life and kids are the same. So they need to be ventured these opportunities. Like you guys get to skate on the pond over there, right? You get to skate on the pond when you're at home.
Yeah, in the winter. Nobody ever does because the rinks have enough ice time for you.
Because there's actual ice rinks. Yeah.
I remember the first. I know it sounds crazy, but I've got a vivid memory of when I was a kid, and I can't remember if it was my first time ever putting on a pair of skates. But I remember sitting on my back door porch, my dad putting in to be honest with you,
two pairs of socks
this
in that
is
gang
gonna take me
outside.
down
Eh?
a couple pegs. This is going to take me down a couple pegs. Putting a pair of double runner skates on me.
All right, I've had them.
Carrying me to the car, putting me in the car, taking me out, and putting me on a public outdoor rink at a park. That's it.
Off you go.
There you go. And you know what he did? He put me on with a bunch of idiots out there, and that's what we did. But also, here you go.
Bit of dodgeball, like duck, dodge, weave. You're on a public skate and never been on the ice before. You just try to get out of the way.
The kid's got a helmet on. It'll be fine. That worked out well. But so when I started to develop into a better hockey player, my brother played, house hockey, and I was playing travel hockey.
Yeah.
God, my brother's 6 years older than me. So what my dad did was like, "You're going out with them," and I was like, "With them?" And he's like, "Go out with them." And so I go out with him, I skate with him, and then you get cocky and this and that. Then my brother's like, "Oh, we're going to open skating. We'll take my brother Dom. He's a really good hockey player." So what do? They take me out to an open skating session without my dad, without any parental supervision. My brother's best friend runs me through the boards, breaks my collarbone. 6 years older.
Welcome. Let's go, baby.
I lived.
Yeah.
Right? But that takes me back to the point of get the kids on the ice. Your 5 things that you talked about. One, my biggest thing is if players are ready, if the coach feels he's ready, if the parents are willing to sign a waiver saying, yes, anything that happens, it's on us, get them on the ice. Get them on the highest level possible. Otherwise, we're going to keep losing players to overseas at the young age and this and that, or they're just going to fall off the face of the planet. That's it when it comes to hockey.
That's the biggest one. They just fall off.
That's it. That's my biggest thing. As far as anything else, if you're asking me development for kids and everything like that, if I could shout out, I would shout out, try the pathways, try to make every connection you can. And you know what? Work with every team, work with the teams below you, work with the teams above you. But also I shout out to the teams above us to work with us too, as well, the way that they've worked with us this year, and it can't just be for your benefit. It has to be for the pathways benefit, for the kids' development. Like I'll be honest, with Maddie, it was tough. We were supposed to have Alex Kent all year long. We were supposed to have him, and we always kept in communication, everything like that. We waited it out as long as we could, but every time he was ready to come to us, something happened and he had to play him. Yeah. But the fact is, he played him. Yeah. He wasn't holding him as a 10th forward. No. He wasn't holding him to play 3 shifts a period.
He played down in Basingstoke 2 games that I see this year, and he played regular shift.
Yeah.
Like an actual regular shift, not a fucking Mickey Mouse, 3 and 10.
Exactly. It was it's a regular shift. And that's the thing is, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen with any of the players next year. But the fact is, the import rule that's happening in the Elite League is going to have a downward effect.
It's trickle-down economics, right? It's going to trickle down. We're going to have 3 imports in the national.
Right.
That might have been broken first on 4,000 accounting. Oops.
I have no idea about that.
Yeah, me neither. Oopsie. But it is what it is. Like,
yeah,
we know it's going 3. Let's stop bullshitting. This is what Dom. Here's one. Here should be one of your 3 of 4 or 5. Yeah, this should be number 3, 4, or 5. Fucking transparency, right? You lot are all talking rumors around this. It comes out to people like us. We already know. We know the inside. You forget that all the people that know everything in UK hockey, we know each other. We're all friends. We're friends with the owners. We're friends with the coaches. We're friends. We're all friends and former teammates, or they were my owner, or they were my coach, or I was their fucking wingman. I jumped in and got fucking the import that was going to punch their head in. Yeah. So when it comes to talking, we talk. So instead of it becoming from us, let's get ahead of it. Let's have a structural website. We've just got NIHL stats. Joe Scutts, I believe his name is. He's now been promoted to the stats guy because the Sportal thing was a fucking disgrace. He's now actually officially coming on to do a stat. This guy's stats are amazing. So he's coming in to do that. There's people coming in. We need not the NIHL 2 announcement coming from this guy, though. We need it coming from the league. On an official basis, we heard from one of the players in the NIHL 2, I'm not going to say who it was, they found out at practice 9:45 last night that they no longer were in a title race, even though it's a 1-point race, via basically a fucking Facebook post. They didn't even, the EIHA didn't even let these guys fucking know that, hey, we're going to award this and we're going to do this and that non-fixture's this and this is that. They were like, what? We're in practice. Like, what? So you've just taken it out of our hands completely, even though we're in a title race. And if we win our next game, or if you were to follow the same rules that you just followed in awarding 0 zeros and 5 zeros, if it all works out exactly the same, it would be exactly tied on top between Guildford and Bristol right now. Instead, Bristol win it.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like it for Bristol.
Yeah.
I'm sure Bristol don't like it. Even though they won, I'm sure Bristol don't like it. They didn't want to win like that. Streatham didn't want to win in the COVID season with Solent cancelling the game while they were on the way to the last game because Streatham could win in their own barn, and then they pulled the fucking COVID shoot after having like NIHL 2 the night before. There's things that happen in UK hockey that you look at and go, you guys are not helping yourself. Let's get a central thing where we have a central website and I can go on there and I've got Hull Seahawks, Blackburn Hawks, Solway Sharks, Basingstoke Bison. I got all the latest news about all of you guys. I've got up-to-date results. I've got, Basingstoke could just call this kid up from the junior team. Swindon have just called this 16-year-old kid up first game. Let's get on a centralized basis so that we're actually promoting these kids.
Yeah, and showing it.
Show it. Let's go. We live in a content generation, and if you're not putting out any content, we're not going to develop shit because no one wants to give you any money.
But and that's what you're talking about is, I mean, it is
commercial business.
Yeah,
it's commercial business, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah, and what I was saying about now that the Elite League's going to is it another 3 imports? That's what
no. It's 14 right now. It's going to be 15 there. It's then going to be. It's going to be 2 international up. Was 2 international up to 3. I've not heard anything about your guys' league, so I'm not going to say anything on that.
It's still going to push down. There's still going to be Brits that are going to get pushed down. Look, and people might not like me for saying this, but when it comes to the Elite League, I'm sorry to say it, that's the NHL of Great Britain. It's the NHL of the UK. They should not have a rule saying you have to have this many. It's not. Nobody else does. The NHL does not have a rule saying, well, we're primarily United States hockey team, so you have to have so Americans.
50% Yanks and 80% Ruskies, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It's a business. They have to run the business. They're there to compete. That's what they do. The National League is very similar, in my opinion.
I think so.
But and they shouldn't have to be worried about that. So what's going to happen is
imagine this, Ozzy. Though you're a player, yeah, you're a player,
yeah,
and you're about to sign for a team in the National League, and they go, right, Ozzy, we're going to give you the money we want. We're going to do this, but we're going to have 4 guys that are on a development contract. So we're going to go, spoon feed. You're going to go, fuck that shit. I want to win hockey games. And you're going to go, well, I'm not signing then because you're just telling me that you're going to basically put 4 guys that are not ready to be in the roster. There needs to be an actual legitimate pathway. You've touched the word pathway so many times today. Pathway. Yeah. You can't just bring 4 kids in and go, look there you go. It doesn't work like that.
Look at the East Coast Hockey League. When I played there, it wasn't the way it was now. It wasn't. It was. We still had affiliations. When I played for Toledo, we were affiliated with the Red Wings and we were affiliated with the Chicago Blackhawks. It was shit for a guy like me who wasn't signed on either one. Because
you didn't have an NHL contract.
No, absolutely not. Not even an AHL contract. But what they did was they put everything in line. Right. So when it came to the year that I played in Toledo, my first year I played in Toledo, I fit in well. It was a team player. I got along with the team. Coaches loved me. It was great. But the fact of the matter is the coach loved me to the point where he's like, look, Dom, he's like, I don't know what to tell you. We're coming to the trade deadline. I've got 2 players coming down from Grand Rapids, which is Detroit.
AHL's like
Davey Phillips came down to play for us from
okay.
Chicago's I don't remember who was Chicago's affiliate at the time, but it was Chicago's affiliate, AHL. They were sending 3 players down. And the fact is, I've got to play these guys. I can't not play these guys. So you have a choice. You could stick with us, train with us, practice with us. I don't know if you're going to get in the lineup, or
shit rolls downhill, right?
Or we can
like, NHL, AHL, ECHL, and then off you go.
Yeah, we can look for a trade. So what happens is, I said, look, Toledo's 45 minutes from my house, brand new rink, 8,000 fans a night, beautiful place to play. I said, look, if you're going to trade me, do me a favor. There's 2 conditions I'll go. 1, please don't trade me to a team that's not going to make the playoffs. 1.
Yeah, because that sucks.
2,
I'm going to be blocking shots the next 3 months, and I've got zero chance of making the playoffs.
And I said, put in my contract somewhere that my rights come back to you at the end of the year. So a team... Right.
So you had the business head on you from back, because
I love
but listen, not a lot of players had the foresight to say, hey, listen, if you're going to do this, you need to do this. But you need to bring me back. That's fucking smart business, my friend.
Said, well, no, actually, I'm not going to do that. But they had the respect to do.
I think you probably caught them off guard, mate, because not a lot. How many ice hockey players are smart enough without an agent to actually put that in their own deal?
There. I wanted to play there, so I thought I'd play better. And you have to create a place where you want to be.
You're happy, right?
Well, let's just put it this way. They traded me to Florida, and I was like, shit. Because I
don't want to come back. Rip that contract up. I will turn up to the rink. I'm in flip-flops and shorts, man. Like,
not only that, it's free golf at every resort possible because they're all sponsors anyway. So
that's what you should do, Ozzy, because as much as some of our fans hate it, I'm a fucking golf nerd. I'm a golf nerd. We spoke off air. I said, what do you do to kill the time? And you say golf. Now, I love it. What are you playing off? How's your game looking? Like, what you play? What's your handicap? Yeah, man. Let's talk golf. Let's talk golf for a little minute.
I was at 9.6 before.
Oh, nice. So you can get around out there.
Back at 10.4, but it is what it is. I'm not playing as much as I was just after COVID, but also I wanted to get hockey back in and more family time and things. So something had to go, but I'm still playing once, twice a week anyway.
That's good numbers. That's good numbers for a once or twice a week golfer, man. Nice thing about that is you're still mixing in plenty of pars, occasional birdies, no real double bogeys. So you have a shithole here and there, but there's no real double bogeys. You might get one around. A few bogeys, but you're mixing in pars. So, but you can play with the boys. It's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun. You can have bands, and you can still compete. You're not trying to be a bandit. You're not trying to be like, yeah, I'm 20, and then you go out and rock fucking like. Because sometimes mate. I don't know about you. So I'm off. I'm like 11 and a half, 12. So I'm just like a shot ahead of you. I shot behind you. You
to our Blackburn golf day. That's what you should get out.
Sign me up. When is it?
Of August. On the 18th of August, you should come out.
Well, funny you say that. I'm trying to get the second charity game on the 19th of August in Sheffield. Wow. So if I can do that,
there you go.
I'll fucking be there with bells on. I've never been to Blackburn. I've always wanted to be there since Alan Shearer used to.
I did it last year.
That one. Alan Shearer, mate, when he was doing that, I was at primary school. That's why I said the joke at the start. Honestly, when I was at primary school, year 6, no, not even year 6, younger than that. God. 90, what was that? Come on, Graham, 90, 94?
94, 95. 94, 95.
Yeah, I'd have been in primary school. And that was when Alan Shearer became this guy.
Yeah.
And we all loved him on the playground. Like, no one even heard of Blackburn and fucking Bezos, though. We never even knew what that was. But this guy just came on Match Today and he was running around doing that. And but yeah, honestly, like golf was such a big part of my transition into
life.
Well, yeah, real life, real life, and obviously doing this gets me to keep in. But I wanna get away from Blackburn for a little minute and talk about, because we've kept you for ages. I want to kind of get towards the wrapping stage, but I want to talk about actually a career, because you've played in the CHL, the ECHL, the IHL, and for those that are not familiar, they won't know that that's not too dissimilar of a standard at this, because in the leagues then. And over the last couple of decades, now the coast is fucking concrete. The coast the best. It's the concrete. It's the third. It's the third tier. There's no and ahhing. Back then, like if you're an IHL and the East Coast, some guys will you have them both rosters. You would never know any different. CHL, same thing. You could go, hey, there's a first line from this roster. He goes on this roster is exactly the same, and there was guys that could do jobs at all levels. Yeah. What did you find the major difference between the East Coast, the IHL, the CHL?
To be honest, back when I played, they were all a lot alike. They were all the same. The only thing is, when I played in the IHL, and I'm sure you'll like this, there was only 6 or 7 teams. I think it was still the pro schedule. It was still 3-4
rivalry city, fucking 60 games a season against the same 10 teams.
It was stupid because you see the same team week in and week out. That's all there was to it. And the rivalries wasn't just with one team.
Memories are long,
league was rivalries. And the thing is, that was my second year pro.
So you've been at school as well. So it's not even being a major junior where it's a gong show.
Yeah. We weren't allowed to fight.
Yes, you're not allowed to fight, and now all of a sudden you're in the jungle.
They still do. But the NCAA, you're still wearing cages. But some of these guys, I mean, they were unbelievable, like hockey players. But then you get to the CHL, the IHL, the ECHL. At that time, they were a lot of teams, but they were just in different leagues. But no, it was good. It was a lot of fun, to be honest. And it was all about trying to get to the AHL. That was your goal. That was the next step. To be honest,
how close did you get?
We were all playing the NHL. I played 6 games for Worcester in the AHL preseason.
Okay, so you were there almost.
I was there. Well, after my first pro year was officially with the CHL, New Mexico Scorpions. That summer, when I spoke to my agent, I said, "Look, I don't care where I sign, but I want to sign for somebody who's going to guarantee me an AHL training camp. That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
That I didn't care what the money was. I didn't care anything about that. I said, get me to a team.
Give me a shot.
Give me a shot. That's all I wanted." And when I got to Worcester, it was with Fort Wayne. I signed with Fort Wayne. And that was the IHL. That was the year we only had the 6 teams in the league. And I said, I want to go to, I want to do a training camp. So they signed me, brought me out. I mean, but also to be able to recruit from there, Jesus, I mean, 13,000 fans a night. Like, it's insane. It's unbelievable. The rink is beautiful. It's a Coliseum. If you look it up, Fort Wayne, they still have the same organization, but they're in the East Coast now.
Now they moved up to the coast.
Yeah, so they sent me to Worcester, and you get to Worcester, and it's like, I mean, you've got guys that played in the NHL and stuff like that, and they're like, look, there's 6 of you here. One of you guys
might get a shot. Might get a shot.
No, one of you guys is going to make the team. That's it.
Yeah.
And this is how close I got. And it was as close as I would ever get after that. So when I went to Worcester, it was great. It was, I trained as hard as I could during the summer. I ate, drank, slept hockey. That was all I did. I worked out twice a day. I skated twice a day sometimes, and it was 5 days a week. It was full on. And then on the weekends, I try and get on the ice, so much to the point where I skated with a buddy of mine, Mike Vigilante. He was coaching the highest level midget girls team, Little Caesars.
Skate with the girls.
And it was just ice. So me and his brother Johnny, who played preseason games in the NHL for the Red Wings, we went out and skated with them on the weekends. So it was literally 7 days a week for like 2 months straight, just to train, just to get there. Paid for a trainer, paid for off ice, paid for on ice. Did anything I could, and it worked. It was so good. And this is why I believe it. This is why I believe, from my point, because I was never a skilled hockey player. It was always about how hard I was going to work, and I was going to be a grinder, and it was going to be a simple player, third line at best.
So do you hate the fact, I think, who came out and said it this week? One of the guys, Colby Armstrong, I think, came out and said this week. He basically came out and said, like, the fact that you're taking the tough guy role, the fact you're taking the grinder role. We don't need 4 guys of fucking Hendrik Zetterbergs to make ice hockey entertaining. You are eliminating the sport from about fucking 97% of us. 97% of us are not Kieran Brown, right? We're not.
Never gonna be that guy. I was never
we're not.
That guy. So what I decided
You're taking the sport away from us though, Ozzy, now. Like, because now unless you can do a backhand toe drag on a fucking breakaway or in Michigan, no one gives a shit.
And that's the thing. And I was like, well, I'm never going to be the goal scorer. I'm never going to be the offensive guy. I got to find a way to make it as the guy that I can be. So all I did was grind it out. And that was what I was going to make.
How many of your best teammates, Ozzy, were those guys?
All of them?
All of them? All of the guys that grind. You
had to get through that level to do it. And so I went and I trained. We were there for 2 weeks. We played 6 games and training, obviously, the inter squad games and the training and everything. It was a camp.
Fighting at 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah. Literally the first 2 days we were there, they cut 3 guys after the first 2 days. They were gone. Yeah. So it was still 2 weeks. I was like, shit, okay, 3 guys. And we were all the same guys. I roomed with one, Desjardins. So, and he'll come back into where this all plays. So we get to the end of week 2, and we're in Hartford, and it was just him and I left, and they sent him home on that weekend, and they said one of us was going to make the team. The trainer's coming around, he's taking sizes, equipment, all that stuff, track suits, all that. Say, what are your sizes, this and that? And I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, I think I did it. And you get through the game, the final game, their season starts literally 4 days later. You're there on Sunday. The season starts on Wednesday, and you're sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I think I made it. So they call you in the office, and he's like, look, he's like, Dom, he's like, go down to Fort Wayne. He's like, I'm just going to let you know now, you made it out of the 6. He's like, you're here. You're going to be the first call up. We just had a guy come out of retirement. But I can't tell you who, but he signed for San Jose, and he's going to start here with Worcester. And then whatever happens. He's probably going to get called back up, and then you're going to be the first call up. So go down to Fort Wayne, start your season there, and you're there. So in my eyes, I was like, shit, I fucking did it. You know what I mean? I made it. Right. So I go down to Fort Wayne, and I shit you not, from a Detroit kid, the worst thing that could happen to me is Claude Lemieux came out of retirement. Well, you know what Claude Lemieux's reputation was. Yeah, Claude Lemieux came out of retirement to play. Something happened. I don't know if he even ended up staying or going or whatever. But I think my first weekend I went down to Fort Wayne. I went down to block a shot, as you do in a 6-1 game that you're up, of course.
Of course you do.
I broke my foot. So I've got a boot, and I get called in the office about a week later. He's like, look, Worcester called. They were asking if you can go up and this and that. And I was like, well, send me. He's like, well, your foot's in a boot. I'm not sending an injured player up. I was like, I'll tape it. Yeah. But so they ended up calling Desjardins back up, and the kid stuck. He was the grinder. He was that. We were the same role, same everything, and he stuck. And he ended up having, played that full season that year. I think the next year, then ended up going to San Jose's camp, and then made the team, and then
they did.
Yeah, and that was the closest I came.
So is it? And this is why my question come to. Stop trying to fucking eliminate guys like us, otherwise your game is going to be so fucking shit. Right, Kieran Brown is the most entertaining player in the league to watch. Yeah, put 15 of them against 15 of them, you're going to have the most fucking boring hockey game you've ever seen in your life. There'll be 12 people in the stands. When there's no guys like Brad Marchand who's skilled but will fucking cross-check the goalie in the net, you're like, where did that come from? But now I want to go on to NSBC and go, oh shit, look, there's Brad doing this, and then you're back next week. And then you got that team 6 times in your division. He's coming to town. Fuck Brad Marchand. And just a bit of that, like, build the game, and I think via player try and do a little bit in the elite league. It's not enough for me. That's a video for another matter with me and Mark, but this is more about your career. Your career obviously spanned different leagues, and obviously we talk about development a lot. You were lucky enough to play in the NAHL, and to those that are over this country, they're probably not overly familiar. So, like a player like myself, it's a fucking good hockey league, Joe.
You bring in one of those teams over here right now. You bring their top team, and with all due respect, they walk our league.
It's not even close, mate. It's not even close.
But that's okay. And then you
not even close, Aussie. Like Aussie, I think they win it by Christmas.
It's not USHL. It's not even close. You take it a step further. Look at the US development team, 17s and 18s.
Yes, of course.
Where are they playing right now? They're in the now. They're in the now. They're all there. Where do they throw them? They throw them in the NCAA, the CCHA. They're playing teams like Michigan with 24, 25-year-old draft picks, to the NHL, and they're turning them. You know what I'm saying? That's how you get better.
So real good standard.
There's another thing for England. So why don't you look at putting together a team like that, investing in it, and have it central, because it was in Plymouth, Michigan, wasn't far from my house, is where they're based, but they play all around the country. They house them, right? They put them in like dorms, and it's all kids that are serious about being hockey players. I have a thing right now where
they're not going into that program where they think they're going to be like an electrician. They're going into that program because they want to be a hockey player.
This is where I'm going to go with this. I'm open to say it now, because I'm going to say this to my guys, and I always lay my cards on the table with my guys, always, and they know exactly where they stand. If they don't, I don't understand how much more clear I can make it. But we are looking at players that want to be hockey players, not players that
want to play hockey.
That's it. My first question, I talked to a kid the other day, and they were interested in Blackburn and what we're doing and this and that. And the first question, I sat down and I talked to him. And of course, because of how young he is, you have to have a parent present. And I looked at him and I said, I have a question for you. I said, do you want to play hockey or do you want to be a hockey player? And his answer to me was, be a hockey player. And I said, good, we can continue. Answer. That was the first question. The only question. Because if you're looking at development hockey players, that's the question I'm going to ask you. Do you want to be a hockey player or do you want to play hockey? Because where we are right now as an organization, as a club, if you're going to be a development player for us, do you want to be a hockey player? That's the first question I'm going to ask you. If you do, then here's the pathway we can offer, and this is what we can offer. Am I saying that if you want to come here, you're going to play? No. What I'm saying is you're going to have to work towards that then. Because
it was tough with your league, though, Ozzy.
Sorry?
So it was tough with your league. You get some good players, right? Mm-hmm. But he goes, yeah, bro, I'm a DJ. I'm going to get paid 250 fucking grand to go work in Ibiza for the summer. And you go, well, it's going to be 89 quid a month subs. You know what I mean? Like these guys are going, well, I'm a Sparks on site in central London and my contract's 200 fucking grand, mate. And you want me to be at practice at fucking 10:15? You
ask the question.
It's tough though, isn't it? Like,
but you got
where do you want to be? Like,
you got to weed them out.
But if they're good though, if those guys are the good local guys, right. At my age, take example, I'm a PT and I'm a podcast and I'm this and I'm that. But if your team's in my town, you fucking want me to play for you.
Hey, I never said every player. All I said is
no. But do you know what I mean? Like you want a player who might be career based now, but oh my god, he can help my roster so much. How important is it getting the mix of those guys like maybe like myself who's 36? Definitely do a job in your league. Well, I could do a job in your league right-handed.
I'm not saying it's all we're doing. I'm not saying that's all we're doing. We're not just a development organization.
Yeah, but that's like how you get the balance.
That's what I'm saying is you need to have that balance. You need to have your guys who have their careers that can still compete, that still want to play. You have to have them, and we're happy to have them. And if it wasn't for them, we can't bring the other development players through because you're not putting them around enough players with experience. You're just not. It won't work. So you have to find, you've got to find that balance. And that's where we're at. That's what we're trying to do. And that's like, you say, yeah, we're trying to get away from Blackburn and stuff. But that's in my experience, my career. You asked about my career. That's what we were. I thought I was going to play in the NHL till I was 25, 26, 27.
That was the ambition, right?
27 years old. I was playing in the NHL. That was it. That was my focus. I was tunnel vision. That was my goal. That's what I was going to do. And the thing is, to me, again, I'm not the most skilled player. I could shoot a puck hard, not very accurate.
1 out of 5 fault and reach.
I was focused, and I would do anything I could, to the point where even at that camp, I fought a guy named Hans Benson. Why would I have done that? I'm still looking back at myself thinking, why would you have done that?
Did he
Because
pop
if I was
your eyes shut, did he?
now, I would have never fought Hans Benson then.
What happened? How'd it go?
Not good.
No, not good. Not good. Not good. Not
Not good at all. I mean, I remember looking up at the bench at their bench. And
Just
guys
thinking,
looking at the bench. At
fuck,
me,
I wish this
"Ooh."
was a home bench.
Yeah. And it was their home bench in Springfield when he's like, a couple of their guys was, yeah, that wasn't a smart idea. I think you picked it with the wrong one. But you get into the locker room, though.
But how
in
dangerous is that in like those
between the
camps?
second and third period, though, and the guys looking at you, and you got guys looking at you that played in the AHL, be like, how tough was that guy? I've never
Yeah,
fought
I
him.
have no idea. I was dodging that.
And
No,
you're
but how
sitting there,
dangerous is it, a guy? Like, because we don't have that experience in the UK of trying to make a team, because you know what it's like. You're trying to recruit now, but like you guys were trying to make a team, so you're going to training camps and you're doing this. You're getting this kid out of junior B that nobody's ever heard of, who's 6'5" and 250, and you don't know. He's just come up to join the same fucking tryout that you have. Nobody's told you that he punches through walls for a living, and you know he like headbutts steel on a daily basis.
exactly.
And you end up fighting this guy, get put in a wheelchair, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, you got dummy by the guy that can't skate." I was like, "This guy punches through walls." And then, like, you just don't know who you're getting in those tryouts, man. It's a wild
But
west.
that's the thing that never changed either. I mean, and you talk about having guys that have your back and the tough guys. We had Jeff Smith, again, one of my best friends, going to his wedding in a couple next year. I tried to fight Olsen in Coventry.
Yeah, that's a real bad idea for you.
Yeah,
that's a real bad idea.
Good matchup. Real good matchup, Dom. And I'm going
He
after
just
him.
Donkey Kong's you.
I played with him in Florida, but at the same time, I went after him, and I had to have this 6'6" Jeff Smith. Dom, come away from that. You're not cool. Like, he's laughing at me as he's doing it. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You're gonna get killed. Like, come on, let's go.
By the way, Ben Olsen was undercover, one of the toughest guys that ever played in the Elite League. Anyone that slept on him, go back and watch his fights on our boy British Hockey Fights UK.
Did not care who you were.
He was so tough. Tough.
I respect that, because he would fight you if you were a goal scorer, if you were the toughest guy in the league, if you were the biggest guy in the league. He would have fought Bob Probert if he was on the ice. That's what he would have done. And I'm sorry to say it, but if I would have ended up in that, I'd have got killed.
It would have been pretty bad. I'm not going to lie.
Look,
I'm not going to pump your tires just because you're on the pod.
Yeah.
If you drop your shit with Ben Olsen, it's going to go really, really badly for you. And this is the obvious thing that people don't realize when we talk about taking the tough guy away, right? So when you know that you're going into that situation and the puck goes east-west, and it now went from the young 5'10" British D-man's corner to the big 6'6" Ben Olsen's corner, your forecheck plans change up real fucking quick. Let me tell you, real time, like in that real time decision is, I'm gonna fucking run this kid through the boards to, I'm gonna try and stick this dude and fucking pin him in the corner. Might bump his body a little bit.
Oh,
but
no,
at
that time there was only one option, Nicky, because if you didn't go through them, the guys would see through you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? At that time, it was different. You had to go through them. It didn't matter who they were. But the fact of the matter is, that guy would be like, well, he just went through me. It's just what he does. It's just what players do. Like, they're not going to take offense to every single hit.
Tough guys never do.
Your issue again is you've got guys now that think, why am I getting hit? That kid shouldn't hit me. And then they go after him, or they go after a younger guy or whatever.
Do you get a lot of that in your league?
Yeah, we do. We've got guys that, like, I mean, again, I'm gonna go back to Devitt's. He plays chippy. He plays physical. He's targeted by the refs because that's what he does. But then he'll go through guys that don't feel that they should be hit. And I'm like, and I sit there and I think
Put
to
it this
myself,
way, mate. If you're playing NIHL 1 North, none of you fuckers should feel like you shouldn't be hit. Because if you shouldn't be hit, you won't be playing the NIHL 1 North. Let me tell you that for straight. You'd have already been gone. You'd have already been gone. Ryan Aldridge would already have you on championship winning Leeds team. Take a fucking hit to make the play.
Yeah.
And
then that's what I say. I said, don't worry about running a guy through the boards. Don't worry about laying him out open ice. All I'm asking you to do is get in the way or go through him.
Separate him from the puck.
That's it. Separate him. Make him irrelevant from the puck in the play. That's all you got to do. And that's a shame because every time somebody goes through a guy, I got Thacker running through guys at the moment. But then
just giving you a hard time just by fucking smoking
every
everybody.
Single guy that he hits comes back at him and tries to punch him in the face. I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, maybe we need to give this kid maybe we need to give this kid some lessons with the old Iron Dukes, maybe.
No, he does it. He's fine with it. He's absolutely fine with it. And
so that's a kid that'll go places because he wouldn't do shit for the team, man.
Yeah,
and that's the guy that takes a step.
I'm not saying he's the only one doing it. Now we have all our guys doing that. That's what creates team toughness because every guy's doing it because they know that every other guy's got their back.
Yeah.
And that's the most pure thing that I've seen in the last 2 weeks. Graham, you'll see it too as well, is guys are doing that and they're doing it for each other.
Buying in, right? They're buying into buying into the ethos.
They're not doing it for anybody except for the guy that's sitting on the bench next to him. And that's the best thing. And when you can
get what that creates, Ozzy? That creates like summertime trips to Zante with the boys. That creates fucking barbecues in the summer with hot tubs. No, but it does. Because hey, when those guys got your back at the end of the season, especially at that level, you want to go blow off some steam. You boys got to go Ibiza. You're going to go and do your trips in Magaluf.
They've got the end of the year book.
And how much easier is it to go on that summertime trip? Yeah, when you got run from behind, that fucking guy that's next to you jumped right in there, or he blocked a shot, or he did whatever it took to make our chance of winning better. Those summertime trips. That's where it's at. Those golf days when the season's done and it's all said and done, you put everything on the line and you know that you put everything on the line. You can look at yourself honestly. And I've been a one-dimensional kind of fucking player. I was always like put everything on the line and that's what I got. And I'm gonna be like that. I would be disrespected if I felt like a player on my roster didn't do that. And I'd let them know that, hey, you better come to work here. Like we're all in this team here, and you need to come to work. And I think if you guys can educate that now at that level, when they step up a level, and then they step up a level, they're going to be fantastic.
Absolutely. And like I said, there's no disrespect or
I don't think it's meant
to guys that I haven't mentioned or anything like that, but I'm just saying that they're all doing it for each other, and that's what hockey's about. And you're talking about development and bringing it through. It's not about, hey, you're the best player, take the puck and go. It's about playing as a team game. Hockey's a team game. It's not
like Mike's, is it? It's not Mike's hockey. It's adult hockey.
That's what be taught, and that's what I'm trying to shout out is we're all going to be better for it, because that means if everybody's doing the same thing, we're going to have a bigger pool to pick from. Everybody's going to have a competitive team. Then we're going to talk about having a competitive league, and it's anyone's game from that point. Now it's tactics and things like that. So, but I feel that's a ways off, Nikki, a ways off.
Right. So, okay. Before we get on to the cheesy questions, then, because we've been running like a couple of hours here, we're going to wrap up with some cheesy ones, story for the boys. What I'm going to ask you is then, how do we, in the short term, bridge the gap quickly? Let's go 2-year plan. 2-year plan. Dom Osmond is in charge of the EIHA. You have been tasked with a 2-year plan of so let's face it. Solway shit pump the fucking north. Streatham shit pump the south. You have a couple of teams that do all right here and there, and then you have some teams that do okay for them, i.e. for their own club, but not for the entire league structure. Maybe a 5th place is great for their club, but They still only won 8 games or whatever it is. It's maybe not great for the league. How do we get in the next 2 years Streatham to maybe win it by a point, Solway to win it by a point if they don't go up, where it's going down to the final week of the season, where we've got the 5th team can beat the 1st team and the 8th team can beat the 5th team. MK Thunder cannot beat anybody. Sheffield Scimitars in your league cannot beat anybody. They're a fucking gong show. It's embarrassing. They need to stop it. Like that Sheffield Scimitars, they've won 1 game all year. They should not be allowed to be in the league next year. It's a disgrace. I'm sorry to any of you Sheffield. I've probably got friends on the team. I don't follow that level closely. Like, there's things that should not be happening. MA Thunder. I know you lost Tommy Carla. I know you lost fucking Flats. I know you've lost guys. You shouldn't be making the playoffs because there's no other teams left. You shouldn't be like, oh, you're 8th. You're in the playoffs because there are 8 teams. Bullshit. Like, there needs to be something developing the bottom of the clubs because, hey, Streatham, Solway, Whitley, fucking Solent could probably compete in a little like pool on their own, and then you have the next pool. But it's when you get into the next pool and the next pool and the next pool of these teams that are just consistently not developing and they're not bringing any talent through. We need to target them because the guys at the top shouldn't be suffering for the guys at the bottom not doing the job.
That's such a hard question, to be honest. But
sorry, mate. Sorry, it's my bad.
I think I don't know. I think that there's a lot of rules that are in place that hinder players coming up and down. You've got the under 23 rule. If a player's playing up and down, he's got to be below or at
3 games. 3 games. 3 games you go up, which in Sweden's fine, but when you're in this country, most 22-year-olds are still shit. So,
well, because they've never had the development.
Yeah, because they've not been allowed to because of that. Obviously, because they've not been allowed.
I don't know the reasons why not. I don't know why they have those rules in place. But from my view, from my thing is there needs to be freedom of players up and down.
Do you know when it got brought in? Ozzy, actually, it was my first year in Slough, and we had played in Slough, and our owners in Slough were something to do with the London Racers, who were the owners in the Elite League. Mm-hmm. And then Gloxy and a couple of the other boys, London got fucking pumped out of the Elite League playoffs race. And there was no rules. So in like March, we just signed 4 fucking guys from the Elite League to come and play for us in Slough. But I loved it because I was like, what? I'm 18 at this point. So I'm like, what? 4 Elite League guys are going to come down and come and play with me. I'm like, let's go. But the league were like, oh, well, basically, the teams that didn't sign it, Ozzy, the teams that didn't be smart enough to sign 4 guys from the Elite League went, wah, wah. Instead of going, oh my God, we just added 4 Elite League guys to our league. How much better is our league? They went, and that little bitches.
But I'm not saying Elite League. What I'm saying is within our structure, the IHA. I think there needs to be rules put in place. So I'm not saying
the principle's the same though. The principle's the same.
Playoff. You can't say 2 games before playoffs. Oh, we're going to bring this guy up. You can't do that. And they're out in the NHL too, so we'll bring their best players. No, you've got to have you have a certain amount of guys that you can sign. And they should have the freedom to come up and down throughout the season. And I mean, there shouldn't be, you have to play 9, 10, 11 games. But you should have an amount of guys that you can sign. They're going to be up and down players, age-wise, whatever. It doesn't matter. But then that's got to be up to the 2 teams who sign them on the terms, right? To say, okay, who's going to have the say over these guys, right? Is it going to be the NHL 1 team or is it going to be the NHL 2 team? So just say a pool of 30 players. I don't know. Just put it there. 30 players. I've signed these guys. I'm going to use them all year long.
I guess it comes down to finances then, right? Because if that kid's playing at national, maybe he makes 100 quid a week. If he's playing at your league, maybe he makes 20. But then if he's NHL 2, maybe he has to pay £100 a month. Like it's.
Nicky, what about the AHL and the NHL? So players get signed in a contract to the NHL. They don't get paid that money unless they're playing in the NHL. They might sign terms
Yeah,
of
but
age,
if I'm on a two-way with Blackburn and fucking
Yeah.
Sheffield, and I work in Blackburn as a carpenter,
True.
and you now want me all of a sudden to go to Sheffield for £10 extra a week, you can fuck off. I'm
Yeah.
gonna come into your
but
office and I'm gonna go,
that's-
not happening, mate. You just cost me fucking £300 this week by me trying to go to practice. Not gonna happen. And the lads are
Yeah.
gonna say the same. Like the AHL to NHL argument doesn't work because
Yeah.
hey, in the AHL, you're making fucking minimum 60 bags. So if you can't live on 60 bags,
Well,
tough shit. Some of these kids are on fucking 18 grand a year, and that's how
Yeah.
they make their money to pay their rent. And now
Sure.
you're saying, oh, you can't
Sure.
make 18 grand a year. You've
You
got to
gotta
now go Sheffield on a fucking Wednesday to play in the EPL for 25 quid a game. They're going to go, what? Are you on fucking crack? Like, I make this in an hour pulling pint.
Yeah.
Well, mate, you can make 14 quid an hour working in Costa and Starbucks and shit now. The clubs are going to have to get creative in order to get these guys to want to be hockey players.
This is my naivety to it because I don't think about. I'd never thought about it that way. It didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah, of course, man. Like,
but it's got to be on the players' terms too, as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, so okay, maybe.
Well, you got a
go
school
for-
deal.
maybe you
Like,
don't go for
imagine if we could do school deals in your league and the league above, let alone the elite league. Imagine if
Yeah.
Blackburn had a deal where two of the local fucking kids from the community got to go. I don't know what the school is. Graham would better tell us. What's like the top school, like uni in Blackburn? Imagine if two of the kids got to go there, full ride, everything paid for, in the dorms, all that, and then they got come play with you guys for hockey.
Yeah, they can't because
Yeah, could you
No, you're right,
imagine that? Like, what a development pathway. But like, we get maybe if you're a Scott Conway in the elite league, you might get a school deal. If you're Ben Bowles in the elite league, you get a school deal if you want. If you're Archie Hazeldean, you're probably not getting a school deal until 2 years' time, once you really, really proved it. Do you know what I mean? Like, how about we just develop pathways earlier on where we get kids
maybe at the lower levels. Yeah, at the age groups. Maybe you look at like you were just talking about average age. Saying you have to have a certain average age of teams and things like that to be able to, on the given night, if your average age needs to be, I don't know, 22, 23.
Yeah.
I
don't want to be ageist because there's 45-year-old guys out. Neil Lydiard, man. Neil Lydiard's out in the National League playing with the Bison right now. He's in front of shots. Like, I'm looking at him, right? He's 45. Yeah. I mean, I was watching Lindsay before I made my fucking pro debut. And I'm now watching him 10 years since I played the game, and he's still in front of the fucking net. Goalie's in the corner. He's blocking shots. I don't want to take the game away from guys like that.
Yeah,
but yeah, I kind of agree with you on, like, there needs to be like some sort of premise where we go, right.
Something, but I think I remember watching one of your podcasts, and you were saying there's enough bright people that you can get into a room and say, let's talk this out. Let's work this out. Let's figure something out where we can help kids develop, come through, keep our leagues competitive to the point where, because at the end of the day,
and still make money, by the way, and still make money.
The businesses need to survive. And I'm sorry to say it, if you don't have,
me too.
If you don't have the fans coming in the building, you're not going to survive. You can't do it. So that's the other thing that you need to look at. You need to look at that from a business standpoint too, as well. So you need to get the businesses, you need to get the owners, you need to get the coaches, you need to get everybody in a room together.
I'm self-employed, mate. I get it. We got to eat. Yeah, I'm self-employed, so I totally get we got to eat. But I want to wrap this with some quick fire questions. Best teammate you've ever had?
Oh, fucking hell, that's a hard one. Oh my God.
By the way, these are cheesy and they're all hard as fuck. There's no easy ones.
Nobody will ever be upset for me for saying Jeremy Tendler.
Jeremy Tendler. Have you got any Jeremy Tendler stories that can maybe pop to your mind right now? Obviously, he was notorious in the elite league.
For all you young guys, don't go out with Jeremy Tendler ever on a night before training or before games.
If you want to play guilty, he's not the guy that you want to go with.
Score 5 goals a night if he asked you, and that was it. That's honestly though.
And then you realize you're not as good. Yeah, you go, oh, we can't all do this. I get, it's just
best teammate I ever had. It's got to be Jeremy Tendler. I'm sorry, I love everybody that I played with, but boys, Jeremy Tendler takes cake.
Biggest beauty you've ever played with?
Ryan Hand.
Oh, he was a guy that came over and fought everybody. He was tough as shit. Okay. Best coach you ever played for?
Okay, no, that's tough. That is tough. So many good ones. Cloutier. It's got to be Klutz.
Yeah.
Got to be.
Okay.
I think there's a bit there where he wasn't just a coach, but he was your teammate. You know what I mean? He was right alongside you in the battles, everything like that. I mean,
might answer my next question. That
put it
might
this
answer
way,
my next question.
I played for Cooper, so
yeah,
Tampa.
Well, John Cooper
yeah.
from Tampa, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, as I said, I didn't play with him alongside him, so it's got to be Klutz.
Okay, toughest guy you ever played with or against?
Toughest guy I ever played with or against?
I need to stop putting them on.
Fucking hell. Again, Campbell. That's got to be Campbell.
He's the toughest guy I ever fought.
Yeah, it's got to be.
When I dropped my shit and fucking squared up with him, I was like, oh my God, this is going to go real. What?
You squared up with him?
I did fucking good with him, by the way. I was like, do you know, well, he won our import. I basically, I had a fight. I fucking smote one of their guys. Still blowing, because it's in the EPL, it's 2+2, yeah, and there was no whistles. So I was fucking blowing out my ass. I step 1 foot back on the ice, and Campbell goes after Pink, and I'm like, I'm the closest guy. I'm like, DC, you want to go? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, shit. Like he's like, I'm pretty experienced, but like I'm experienced against brick guys in this league, and you know, he's experienced against other guys. And I was just like, do you know what?
Yeah,
I'm a smart fighter. He's not going to tee off on me. Like, even if he starts to get the better of me, I'm confident enough that I'm such a good fighter technically that I'm going to be able to protect myself. So I was like, fuck it, let's just have a go and see what happens. And then Steve Nell came down to the room after and gave me a bonus. We didn't have a fight bonus then. He came in and he was like,
here you go.
Sold a few shirts tonight, lad. We were over in the Harvey, like weekend millionaires, like, having pints after. All right, okay. Best arena you've ever played in?
Joe Louis.
Okay, that's that was an easy one. Sometimes they're just easy.
Yeah, they are.
Aussie, sometimes they're just easy. Yeah. Right. Okay. Be interesting to see what tack you do this one. It's a fan one. It's a fan one that I've kept in for like 6 months because I fucking love it. If you're building an NHL franchise around one player right now, who would it be?
Right now.
Right.
Like
but they could be anybody. They could be Bobby Orr. Like it could be, but if you were building your franchise around anybody,
Steve Eisman.
Oh, there's a great answer. First timer, by the way. That's the first time we've had Steve Eisman, and I cannot believe that anybody hasn't said it as a Tampa Bay back to fucking back, baby. Yeah. Woo!
Steve Eisman, by far. Growing up,
we were a dumpster fire in Tampa when he came. Dumpster fire.
And
he took us to the heights.
Give him 5 years in Detroit. We'll be fine.
By the way, this Morris Snyder kid and some of the fucking pieces they've got, I'm so glad I don't have to go down the wing and cut into the middle with that Morris Snyder kid on it. Is it Morris? Sonic Snyder? Yeah. I don't want any part of being on the ice when that kid's on the ice.
He's a Lindstrom, but he's physical.
He's a Lindstrom that hits like Cromwell. Like
Cromwell, Lindstrom, any way you look at it.
He's so good. So I take it you're a Detroit fan then?
A little bit.
A little bit with a Red Wings hat.
I kind of am from there. But
yeah, Michigan boy. But it's do you know what I really miss? And I hate to say this as a Tampa fan, I miss a good Detroit. Because my generation of growing up on hockey, I'm an 86 born, right? I'm an 86 born. So the rivalry was Wings and fucking Avs. When I was 10 and like watching hockey and all my life was hockey.
Yeah.
It was those guys. It was the brawl. It was the hit from behind. It was the goalie tilt. It was all of that was my growing up watching it.
5 years long. It was 5-6 years long, that
thing. It was
the
best thing that ever happened to hockey ever.
I was at that game and it was the most intense like it was just you will never see an atmosphere. I was
It's
at the
like
game.
walking into the arena. You're just like, like hairs on your arms stand
well,
up.
you just didn't know anything was going to happen. It just happened. But I was at the game when Detroit won the Stanley Cup against Carolina.
Oh, okay.
So I actually watched Osmond hoist the Stanley Cup.
Amazing.
And it's still, the Avalanche game was better. I don't care what anybody says. That's all there is to it. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What a great answer. Right. That leaves us with none other than a story for the boys to wrap us up and see us on to our merry little way here. Guys, before we go to stories for the boys, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed. And turn that notification bell on if you're new here. We do these things. We talk to awesome guests. We do these interviews, and we're going to be bringing you charity game Slough 5th of August. That's our first one. Aiming to have a second one up in Sheffield, hopefully a couple of weeks later. But yeah, as well as our interviews, we do all that. So follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at 4000 and counting. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Upvote us on Buzzsprout or however that works. Graham might be able to tell you. I don't really know. I'm only in this for 4 years, still learning. But Ozzy, let's finish up with a story for the boys. Something I would love to know something from your time in the minor leagues from America, because equally, I imagine Hull was as much of a gong show. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a story before you give me a story. So my mum talks to me the week that my brother signs for Hull, yeah.
Mm.
She's like, this little fucking dick's just signed for Hull, and I'm like, what? His car insurance, where the house they put him in the Hull. His car insurance has gone from £400 a month, £400 a year, to fucking £2,500 a year. They'd obviously stuck him in fucking Beverly Hills Cop movie in some like fucking gangster zone. The insurance company started laughing when my mum rang him up to change the insurance. Got the postcode. The bird on the phone was like, what? She was like, your premium's just gone 5 times. I was like, fucking ring Ozzy, tell him you want more money.
Well, like I said, we didn't really know where we were. So forgive me, Ryan.
Karen Ann's gonna have you for blood, bud.
Yeah. I'd like to apologize to him for that, because that was all me. That wasn't anybody else but me. I had no idea what I was doing, what we were doing at the time. So, but yeah, sorry, man. But it's a good story then.
It's a great story.
I don't know if I could beat that, to be honest with you. Like I said, I'd be probably one of your more boring guests, but going back to kids and juniors and stuff like that, things that you used to be able to get in with, like not technically hazing or anything. It was all volunteer. When you got stuck in a bus on the way home as a rookie, was a little bit suspect. But I'm not gonna say what junior team. I'm not gonna put anything in there. Nobody got hurt. Nobody was offended. But yeah, so they put you in the bathroom in the bus, which obviously
in the hole, right?
Yeah, it's small. 6 of you, and you have to strip down, and you can't come out of the bathroom with 6 of you guys in there. So obviously everybody's on top of each other without bringing out 51 cents. They throw in change, and you got to come out with 51 cents, not knowing that they only put 50 in. And then you come out of us.
Right. By the way, and you can see right from my reaction how this sort of shit's supposed to go down. You're not supposed to get your feelings hurt. It's supposed to be fun. And you're telling me like the Aussies bringing this story up. How long ago was that, Aussie? 20 plus?
A long time ago. But
hey,
like I said,
and then you did a master's and you lived, and it was fun.
It was.
Man,
it brought the guys closer together.
So Ben O'Connor told the story. Ben O'Connor was on the same bus as Aki Malou, who told the story about racism and how he got fucking hazed. Oki came on and he was like, what, right? We got on the back of the bus, they fucking chucked us in the piss hole, and it was all like, what? And I was like, there goes a white British kid versus a black North American kid in the same toilet. White British kid's like, wait, let's go. didn't think anything of it. And then obviously it blew up actually a few years later. And then we got Oki on, we got to talk about it. He was like you were, he was like, rookie man, you're in piss hole. That was how it was. And we,
that was probably the most exciting thing that's ever happened in my career.
And this is it. And this is it. As much as it probably sounds shit to you guys that have only ever went from high school to college to the office to your fucking out of your mom and dad's basement to, you know, your 1-bed flat to your 3-bed house to your fucking 2.4 step for children. That sounds fucked. To us clowns, that sounds like Monday. Monday. We don't even care. Like,
it was a typical bus ride home. That's all it was.
It was funny.
You knew it was coming. That was it. That was
mean, my thing was when we were kids, it was around about the time of Youngblood. So the fear was always ting ting, ping Dr. Sudden. You always thought you were getting the fucking tight shave. Didn't matter what road trip you were going on. You were like, today's the day that I am getting fucking pinned to the changing room floor and someone's shaving my sack. And then you went, I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. And it was because we all had the one in, all in. Hey, but it could be you today, but it's going to be me tomorrow. And then it's going to be you. And it was fun. But Ozzy, we kept you for so long. I think the only way I've got away with this, the fact that our producer's been on this call, you knowing I've had shit fit at me when I get off and go, by the way, you got a fucking 2.5 hour podcast to edit. My bad. But the fact that he's on here, I think that's bought us a little bit more time. I think the fact that he's a Blackburn boy and we've got to talk a lot of Blackburn hockey. We hope to have a few of you Blackburn girls and guys following along from here on in. But this has been a pleasure, Ozzy.
Great.
For someone who thought you were going to be a boring guest, mate, you've had some good stories. You talk very well, and thanks. I'm sure some of your young pups there in Blackburn are going to go on to do good things under your guidance. So, thank you very much for joining us, Graham. Nice to have you on camera for once, my man.
Yep,
nice one.
But for now, everybody, peace out. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, boys.